Spice Girls playing Mario Kart or whatever it is on Twitch.
Not the Spice Girl.
You're not a Spice Girl?
Hell no.
If I was a
Why
Spice
not?
Girl, which Spice Girl would I be?
Mel B, because that's the only one I know.
Who?
Baby Spice.
Ginger Spice.
Melby?
Oh, we all give different answers.
Oh,
I love
there
it.
were people. There were so many people already waiting on us to start.
Okay, people in the chat.
Such
Why is
patience.
which Spice Girl is Jessie and why?
Yeah, we have Kendrick,
We gotta know.
Fabled Thunder, Mr. Well, Gustavo, Just Link, Shadow Wolf. They were all already in the chat.
All
I haven't turned
right.
on too high.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been here in a while. Yeah, we're talking today, right? Are the levels good? Jesse, remember me?
Bree.
I do remember Bree Bree. I remember RPG. Yes, Chewy's back. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, Roman, you're not late. We just started.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Good show,
Not
guys.
to worry. Good show. That's
See-
the end. Thanks,
see you
everybody,
next
for tuning
week.
in. Thanks. We all said hi. Jessie is Ginger Spice confirmed. And how
Wait,
can I-
that's what she said? She said I'm
Oh, that's
Ginger
what-
Spice?
No, that's just what I said.
I thought you said Gigi. I don't.
Gigi?
Gigi
What?
Spice? Is that what you said?
Ginger.
I don't
Who the heck
understand.
is Gigi?
What Spice Girl am I? I need to know.
Guys,
I
in the
literally
chat.
only know Mel B. That's it.
Hello,
You said
everybody.
Melby. I thought you said Gigi. Melby. Cece's
I don't
here.
know what her Spice Girl's name is. I just know she's a.
I think
Judge
Cece may or may
America's
not
Got
be
Talent.
like live restreaming us. Daniel's in the chat too. We got 31 people watching us talk about which Spice Girl I
41 on
am.
mine.
41? Oh.
And watching me eat blueberries like a savage, I'm just like,
Yeah, well, I've got my dinner here still, so.
I saw you eating
got-
poutine. You were like, oh, I just didn't need to eat dinner. Whatever, you went and got poutine today.
Hell
Poutine.
yeah.
Are you eating poutine? Show it to us. I want to see what vegetarian poutine looks like.
It like looks like normal poutine.
It just doesn't have meat on it.
I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
90% of poutine was meat.
No, it is. Poutine is essentially just fries with gravy and cheese curds. But you can have meat on it. I used to. There's a great restaurant on Commercial Drive in Vancouver. If anyone is ever out this way, and it's called Belgian Fries, and they've got very good poutine and with many meat options, which I don't eat anymore. But anyways, it's delicious. That's not where I got this poutine. So-
Poutine?
It
Nice.
sounds like you're saying Pusheen wrong.
Poutine? What's poutine?
The
That's not a
cat.
Cat.
Not a thing.
The
It's
emoji.
poutine.
Oh, okay.
No,
So,
no.
Ilya,
The cat is
are
wrong.
do you belong to the Ravenclaw?
Oh yes.
House.
Yeah.
I am a Ravenclaw,
Or
but since I am in the U.S., I would technically go to Ilvermorny, in which case, I am a Thunderbird. But as far as Hogwarts is concerned, I'm a Ravenclaw.
well, that's the only one that matters, right?
Wow. Oh.
No, Ilvermorny's awesome. I still have yet to see the new Fantastic Beasts. I want to see it too.
It's so great.
I'm
Gus says
so
you're baby spice.
excited.
Says what?
Gus says that you're baby spice.
I'm Baby Spice.
Hell yeah.
This is
Sounds like a
interesting.
name
You're
for a
saying
weird
that
toad
you're Baby
character.
Spice, Daniel.
I'm baby spice.
No, he tagged you, Baby Spice.
Was
I
he?
said it.
Were you
I
tagging
said in the
Daniel
chat,
to answer,
which-
me, or?
I think so, because I put in the chat which Spice Girl is Jessie and why. So he tagged me and said baby spice because of the bubbly personality. I am bubbly. Jessie's more bubbly than me. Ilya's the bubbly one out of all of us. Too many bubbles.
It's because I use this mask to hide my true self.
Okay, we got 53 people watching. We need to start talking about
Oh,
Zelda
yeah.
before they leave.
Yeah, let's do
yeah.
something.
All right.
Show going.
Look at all the Zeldors.
Yeah. Ilya Rose, I have not either of those movies. They're really good.
They are. They're good. But to each their own opinion. I personally like.
Elizabeth
Fantastic
Aluko. Which, who is that?
Baby Spice. Doo -doo
Oh, that's the user. Oh no, okay. I was thinking that was
Sorry, someone said it in chat.
I'm an idiot. I was thinking that was the actual name of one of the Spice Girls, because I don't think they would actually be named like Baby Spice, would they?
No, those are all their real
I'm an
names.
idiot.
Those are their legal names. It's on their birth certificates. That's how they all met, because they happen to all have the last name Spice. So they decided to start a band.
That makes perfect sense.
It's gotta be true.
Yeah. You deserve 100 million subs. Yeah.
That's about as true as my name being Ilya Rose.
Alright, so now we have 60 people watching. Is that what it says on your guys' side? I'm just gonna restart
Mine
my...
says
Yeah,
63.
62.
I
Oh,
apologize in advance to everyone watching. If I look like I'm just really grumpy because my arms are crossed, I'm not. I'm just
it's
really
because
cold.
she is grumpy. She's very grumpy.
They live in Canada.
No.
It's true.
Oh man,
I'm
you look
Posh
like
Spice?
Raven.
Oh. Ryan Tolley in the chat says that I am Posh Spice.
Nice.
Well.
Alright, while everyone in the
What are we
comments
talking
is
about today?
letting each of us know which Spice Girl we are, for those who don't
Please do
know,
not tell me which one I am.
we
please.
were talking about Spice Girls because on Twitch it says Spice Girls play Fortnite, was it? Spice Girls play Fortnite? Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Alright, and Tubes has better internet, so she won't be cutting in and out. Everyone.
She also has better house.
But she also...
I have Windows now, guys.
Her entire life got an
No more
upgrade.
dungeon.
New job, new house, new life, new wife.
No, rip Cameron.
Oh.
Alright, okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Alright, we have new Patreon people. I should go to that. I'll just do the old list, doesn't matter.
No Patreon.
Hello everyone, I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse, as all of you may know me. Here with us is all of the Hylian Gamescast co-hosts. We have Ilya, Chublima, and Daniel for episode 63 of the Hylian Gamescast. Today we're going to be giving some predictions and talking about some rumors going around for Nintendo and the Game Awards and the Kinda Funny showcase happening the next day, because for those who don't know, the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley has announced that he has bigger surprises than ever before at the Game Awards, and he has more games than ever to show off. And last year they had new announcements like every 5 minutes, so I don't know how you could get more, but apparently they do. And then the next day, Kinda Funny, during their showcase, announced they have over 50 games that they're going to be showing off. So, yeah, tons and tons of games. I would say like half of them are probably indie games, but at least one or two are going to be like big Nintendo games. So we're going to be talking about that. And then there is a quote from Eurogamer about Nintendo launching or wanting to launch new Zelda games every year, which is kind of something they've already been doing for a while. I think they skipped 1 year a few years ago, and that was probably when Breath of the Wild was first delayed. I don't know. Anyways,
That was a sad year.
yeah, and then we're going to end the podcast answering all of your questions. So if you want to guarantee to have your question answered, you can head over to our Discord and put your questions in the Zelda Mailbag. But if we get too many questions, we have to go to our Patreon supporters, and you can become a Patreon supporter to have your question guaranteed to be answered at patreon.com/GameOverJesse, just like Jacob, Michael, Elmer, Bootleg Boy, Vortex, Gus, Justin, that one pancake, Key of Time 15, Monica, Casey, Link Use the Triforce, Megan, Lunarium, Robbie, Shadow to Us, Rusty, and Lovable Christy. A little bit of truth behind that. I think like half of those people are no longer Patreon supporters, but we're just gonna go with it because I never update the Google Doc.
We got a super chat already.
Yeah.
Already, we have a super chat. What is it?
Ryan Lapman
Lapman.
says super chat is super appreciated. How'd you know? That's exactly what I was gonna say, Ryan. So amazing. Hey Ryan, if you got a question, throw it in the chat there, and we'll halt everything.
Yeah.
Answer it. So
Someone will rudely interrupt me or whoever is talking to
Yeah,
announce
probably.
the question.
probably be like, "Jesse."
Deep banana.
I'll do the lean in. I'll do the Jesse.
If you have any questions or words that you want pronounced with a German accent, Ilya you can pay Ilya to do that.
Or just say it in German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be our code word. If someone
But
goes,
in
the
German-
banana, that means we have a super chat.
Oh, die Banana.
Yeah.
The banana. It's a minor thing.
you know,
Banana.
I don't got it. Okay.
All right, Daniel. Since I talked
Christ
too
sakes.
much, do you want to do this first one?
Oh.
Rumar.
Yeah, guess I probably should have read it. But
It's cool. It's quick and short, so you're
It
good.
is,
It's like 3
yes.
paragraphs.
so this is news that comes from Nintendo Everything. It's actually a pretty good website, guys, by the way. And the report is kind of what we talked about before in previous podcasts, and then Jesse also made some lengthy videos about it that are real good. But the rumor is Nintendo wants a Zelda game on Switch every year. And actually, this seems semi-plausible if they're not all Breath of the Wild size and scope. But the article says Nintendo shipped Zelda Breath of the Wild for Switch's launch in 2017. Hyrule Warriors, another Zelda-themed title, was added to the system's library earlier this year. This streak may continue in the future as Eurogamer claims that Nintendo is keen to have a Zelda game launch on Switch every year. The company has many possibilities at its disposal going forward. Last weekend, Zelda producer Eiji Aonuma seemingly teased Skyward Sword for Switch. Nintendo could also bring over the Wii U version of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. There also hasn't been a new 2D Zelda in a while, and we're bound to get another 3D entry at some point, just not next year. Meanwhile, a lot has been made about a recent comment from Game Informer editor Erman Khan, who said on a podcast that the next Zelda will probably be sooner than we think. So, if you look at the last few years, even leading up to Breath of the Wild's release, we were not on Switch or not even on Wii U, but we were still actually consistently getting Zelda content, like a few of them in a span of only a few years. Like you look at between Skyward Sword, it was Ocarina of Time 3D. The Skyward Sword came out. We had Majora's Mask 3D, A Link Between Worlds, Triforce Heroes on the 3DS, and then we also had Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U and 3DS, and then we had Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. All of that occurred between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild's release. So this is sort of just a continuation of the trend, if anything. And as Jesse said many times, don't worry, people, if this isn't going to take time away from them working on the next main Zelda series, because they outsource things. So, but that's enough from Daniel. Someone else have something to say.
Yeah, Ilya.
Politely
Ryan,
raising your hand.
who super chatted us, asked a question.
Yes.
Oh, Ryan, what do you have to say? What's your favorite Zelda games? Oh boy, that's that's the most difficult question.
Right now, I would say Majora's Mask is mine.
Are you replaying it? Is that why?
No.
Just feel it, feel.
At the current, Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild.
All good choices.
Yeah, there are so many good choices.
I had a very while you think here's an idea that we fleshed out in Shibulima's Discord server earlier. All right, so an HD remaster of the CDI games. They can go back in and hand draw all of the cutscenes again, because originally they were drawn and then they were like recorded frame by frame in like 480p or like 480i, whatever Philips CDI put out. But if they redrew and recolored all of that and then took actual 1080p pictures, not like redraw it so it looks better, just redraw it so you can get like, you know, the same character animations and everything, just like in a better presentation, just a higher resolution. That was our idea. No,
I don't want it.
And here's the thing.
I'm gonna throw myself off the roof.
so one of the Zelda games, I think it was Zelda's Adventure. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Zelda's Adventure had live action cutscenes, so they could even bring back the same actors and actresses who were like, I think the guy telling the story, or I forgot who he was, but like the wizard guy was already like 60. So they could go and like bring him back for the remake, and he'll be like 90. And they can just get all of them to react all of the same live action cutscenes. Yeah?
Get out.
Alright. Well, in that time, have you guys thought of yours?
Yeah, well, it is kind of a tie answer as well. But since Ilya said it, I'm allowed to give myself one. So it's kind of a tie between Breath of the Wild, which I absolutely love and adore, and A Link to the Past, which
I knew it.
As I've been playing through Zelda 1 and 2 on my Twitch channel, shameless plug, all I keep thinking about playing through Zelda 2 is I can't wait to play A Link to the Past. I can't wait.
Question.
So
which version are you going to play?
On the Super Nintendo Classic Edition. Because
Okay.
it's the easiest one to plug into my capture card.
Okay. Because, you know, I was talking to someone earlier about it. There were some retcons in the A Link to the Past version. So, like, the flute boy in the forest that turns into, like, the wooden thing after you play the song. In the newer version, he's an actual Kokiri. He's not just a forest boy. So...
Does it ever say that outright, or...
they changed his design to look more like a Kokiri, and he has an ocarina instead of a flute. And then in Hyrule Historia, it says that he is a Kokiri. Like, it was retconned to make him a Kokiri. And they also added in the Link to the the Ocarina of Time sound effects. They added in, so like the sword swing noises and the
voice,
footsteps.
Though.
Yeah.
They added his voice clips in, and I hate it.
Oh.
It actually sounds really bad because A Link to the Past Link can mash his sword swings way faster than Ocarina of Time Link can. So in Ocarina of Time Link, it makes sense because it's like in time with his swings and they look realistic, but when it's like that fast and it's just like it's just like no one does that. It makes zero sense.
You've never watched Dragon Ball Z.
It's terrible. Apparently. No, I have, but it's been ages. But but anyways, there is only one change in the Game Boy Advance remake of A Link to the Past that I actually really like.
Yeah.
And that is they changed in the intro and all of the dialogue the term 7 wise men to 7 sages to fit with Ocarina of Time better. So, which makes sense that because that's how it was meant to be. But and also not all the sages were old men. So
yeah.
In fact, only one of them really was. So.
Do the Gorons? They don't have sexes, do they? Like they're just all male.
That's what it certainly seems like, and I always kind of assume that they're all just sort of like this sort of non-gendered race of rock people that kind of get birthed out of the earth somehow. I don't know how. I have no good explanation for Zoro biology. Somehow they can have a lineage, though, because we know Yunobo is like a direct descendant of Daruk, and that we know Darunia in Ocarina of Time has a son who he names after Link, but other than that, like, we have no context for how Goron biology works.
So they're all
rock people. They're just rock people.
They're rocks.
Yeah.
But they all, like, the way they talk and the way they talk to each other and everything.
Tongues and eyes.
Kind of,
they talk as if they're Hulk Hogan because they call everyone brother.
Well, that's what I was saying. They fit. They. It's like almost like their whole community has decided we're gonna use the male stereotype for our community.
Yeah.
Being rocks.
They're all unisex. They just have major high levels of testosterone.
Rock testosterone.
Testosterone.
Yeah.
That one is a hard one for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I laughed
dead.
at pitch.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask what Chewy's favorite game is, so she can answer the question.
We can
she'll
just.
Be back.
Yeah, we can just get off topic so no, actually not off topic because it goes with this, the new Zelda every year. So we know that's what they've been doing for the past few years. Like even this year, a lot of people don't realize we had Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition is what it was called, right? For the Switch. and it had
Yes,
the new
that's true.
DLC. So like for the past several years, I think there was one year where we didn't get anything Zelda related, but I think that was caused because of Breath of the Wild being delayed. So it pushed everything out of that year. And then there were a few years where we had 2 different Zelda games releasing, like Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, A Link Between Worlds, Triforce Heroes.
Well, you're gonna flip when you hear about the Oracle games.
The Oracle games. Even on the Wii U, another thing no one remembers is that the DS games got brought to the Wii U, to where you could play them on the Virtual Console. So that was really cool.
True.
But yeah, for the next year's coming up, what I would say is most likely, if they do want to keep it at 1 per year, I could see this remake. I honestly think there'll be 2 Zelda games next year, but if they want to keep it 1 per year, I could see that. But I see like around February or March, because that's around the time that the last several Zelda games released. Like there may have been one that released later in the year, but most of them were like February or March releases. I could see February or March for this remake, if it is like Skyward Sword HD or whatever it is. I imagine Tantalus would be working on. And then there's the 2D games that Nintendo has confirmed they've been working on for years. Aonuma's spoken about it a few times in different interviews. It's the game that he wants to evolve what a 2D Zelda game is, which, again, I think they've already done. But they've been working on that longer than they've worked on any other 2D Zelda game. So I honestly thought it was going to be coming out this year because it had already been 3 or 4 years in development, which is longer than most other 2D games. So I imagine, yes?
When do we get the bridge game?
Oh yeah, the Legend of Zelda Bridge. The rumored A Link Between Worlds version of Link's Awakening. That was another one that the rumor Grezzo was working on, but I thought it was more likely Grezzo would just be making HD versions of their 3D remakes. But yeah, so for me, I would say, unless they do want to keep it 1 per year, I would say early next year we get the remake, late next year we get the 2D, like the brand new 2D HD Zelda game, and then the year after that we would get whatever the follow-up to Breath of the Wild would be, that multiplayer Zelda game that Aonuma has been wanting to work on for years. And then even Grezzo could be working on something, we don't know. They recently, I think they have like 2 different teams, because like Ever Oasis and Luigi's Mansion were both made, and I don't think they would have had enough time to, because they completely remade Luigi's Mansion. I don't think they would have had enough time to do that after Ever Oasis, because they also talked about wanting to do a sequel to it, and then there was also hiring for a new team that we covered a while back, where they even had the word legend in their job listing where they were hiring, that was teasing hiring to work on a new Zelda game. So like whatever team was working on Luigi's Mansion, the other team could have been working on another Zelda remake. So who knows? But that's my thing. Matt Fry in the chat says this Zeldor podcast is great. He's using the correct term, because we've been calling it Zoldor a lot. TGL Medora, who is the Larulian historian for everyone who doesn't know, he helped write, or he did write, a couple of the videos on the channel. But he says bridge in quote. Probably doesn't know what we're talking about. So there was a rumor. Yeah, you explain it, Daniel.
Old podcast. It's a running joke almost, but there was a rumor months ago about like fake leak that was like in a Link Between Worlds follow-up, but instead of
Yeah.
remaking A Link to the Past, it would have been remaking Link's Awakening, and then the rumored title was A Link Between Islands. So our running joke was just that it was
I remember
that's
that.
not a game, it's a bridge. So
That
many
doesn't
jokes.
work.
For weeks we were joking about that. So
Yeah.
I think only people who watch the podcast like every week would have probably gotten my joke there. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because it
I'm
was
sorry.
it was the stupidest thing. Because it was like a link between islands, and it's like a link between islands. That's a bridge.
That's a bridge.
Yeah, the game's
Yeah.
literally Zelda Bridge. All right, so Ilya, what games do you think? What games do you believe are coming up for this?
Well, I definitely think it makes sense that they would be bringing a new, quote, as in like remakes and things like that, spin-offs, Zelda game to the Switch every year. The Switch is obviously extremely successful, if that has not been clear already. And everyone wants, I say everyone, but pretty much any Zelda fan, after having the Switch, is like, I just want all my Zelda games on here because I want to play all of them anywhere. And Nintendo knows, they know, if they re-release a game onto the Switch that's Zelda fans will buy it. Why? Because it's another console to play it on. It's even better. We can play it anywhere. It makes perfect sense that they would want to release a new one every year. As far as, because the three main ones people talk about bringing to the Switch are Wind Waker HD, Twilight HD, and making Skyward Sword for the Switch. Which makes sense. And of all of those, I would imagine / hope it would be Skyward Sword first out of all of those, because we don't have a remake of it. We already got Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD on our Wii U's. Now, some people may have just skipped the Wii U and got to the Switch, so I understand why they're frustrated, but I just feel like there's such good justification for Skyward Sword being on the Switch and why it would be such a good thing. In fact, I think Misclick made a video justifying Skyward Sword, and especially it being on the Switch like a day ago or something. So, random plug for her, I guess. I watched it and I was like, thank you! And I'm someone who hasn't even played the game and I love it. So I'm not sure if my opinion actually really counts since I haven't played it. But from a story standpoint. But I would hope it would be Skyward Sword first. And then after that, I'm not sure which games they ought to bring over next. I would hope that after Skyward Sword there would be a 2D game. I don't imagine it would be on the 3DS. I know that the 3DS hasn't died yet, but like they're still doing stuff for it, obviously. But some sort of 2D Zelda game should come after Skyward Sword, and then maybe Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, or maybe with a new 2D, or maybe after the 2D Zelda games, maybe bring as a double pack Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask as they were on the 3DS XL, or well, not just the XL, but the 3DS in general, because even though I prefer the old graphics, I prefer the fixed mechanics of the 3DS ones. Obviously, things like equipping the boots and things like that, because that makes life easier.
Even the Zora swimming and the Deku hopping on the water?
I haven't done Majora's Mask.
Okay.
I only have Ocarina of Time because Majora's Mask is still $40. So I'm like, no, I can get it on my Wii U for $10, the old version, so I'd rather do that, which I haven't done. But yeah, I could probably go on forever about what I think about that. But that's what I think on them releasing it. It makes sense, and I hope it would be Skyward Sword first, and then a 2D Zelda game, and then either bring Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask, or bring Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, or whatever. I just feel like it might be too soon to bring Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD. As much as I want them as well, it's too soon to bring them to the Switch. There are other things that are due. As we've talked about many times before, it is time for a new 2D Zelda. It is time for Skyward Sword HD. It is time. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so I want to say with Majora's Mask 3D, I feel there is enough different in Majora's Mask 3D to where I would say it's not entirely a completely new experience, but it is like a 1.5 experience, if that makes sense, because some of the side quests, not going to ruin which ones, but some of the side quests and where you find certain masks and items are mixed up. So all of the side quests, which there are dozens of side quests, they're not all exactly the same, and they tweaked all of the boss fights and completely changed one of the boss fights. And what changes that boss fight even more is that when you're a Zora, they changed the way that you can swim and use the shield while you're a Zora, that a lot of people complained about, but I would say just as many people praised the changes. And then when you're a Deku, you used to be able to do that twirl when you got to water, and then like you would do like a super fast hop. They took that away. So the hop, like the water mechanics when you're changed is also changed. So like the Deku hopping on water and then the Zora swimming on water and everything. But yeah, and I've told a lot of people that as amazing as an HD collection, like an HD Zelda collection would be, I don't think Nintendo would do it until late in the Switch's life cycle, and that would be like right before they released a brand new console. And it would just be to like push out more, like as many Nintendo Switches as they can, because I think it would be a similar situation to the Zelda collection on the Gamecube, to where like you couldn't buy the disc by itself. If you wanted it and you were a Zelda fan and you already had a Gamecube, you were forced to buy a brand new Gamecube just to get that collection, which a lot of people did. And the other thing was that, what was it? Nintendo knows they could make like $60 from each of these HD games released on the Nintendo Switch. So if they could make $60 from 4 or 5 different remakes, why would they just release it all as one? And the only way that I could see them actually releasing it all as one is after all of them came out on their own, and then they just put it together as a collection for a specific bundle, and that'd be like a year before the next console came out. Yeah, Daniel, hi, hello. You're sitting there looking super dapper.
No, I've been. Oh, thank you. I've been really interacting with the chat here. So
Yeah,
that's,
everyone's calling. Are they calling you Bay? They're making me jealous here.
No.
Back off,
Bay.
my Daniel.
Spirit Tracks was getting attacked for a little bit.
Whoa.
Spirit Tracks is getting attacked?
Spirit Tracks is lovely, but the DS speakers, and I said this in the chat as well, the DS speakers don't do how good the music in that game is justice.
Yeah.
I always played with headphones, but it's got real good music. But
even the 3DS, there was an interview with Ocarina of Time. Sorry to interrupt you, but Alanuma was talking about Ocarina of Time 3D. And Iwata asked, was like, how does this game play on a handheld, because it was developed for a TV with better speakers and everything. And he was saying that as great as the 3DS screen is, as great as the 3DS speakers are, as great as it can sound if you're listening to it. Chiblima's back, everyone. As great as it sounds if you're listening to it with headphones, like he agreed that it was built and designed for a home console on the like on a TV with nice speakers around the room and everything, and that would be the best experience. But they tried as best as they could to have it on the 3DS, which I think like all the way back then, I don't think it was really him teasing like, hey, we want to make it like a remake for home console, but I think it was just more him agreeing that yes, it is better to play it with really good speakers on a big TV than it is to play on this tiny little handheld, even if you could play it in 3D on the handheld. Robin in the chat asks, will you do a collab with Commonwealth Realm? We used to do tons of videos with them when the Chamber of Sages was a lot more active. Recently, we kind of did a video with them that had Conrad in it.
When?
Ilya.
What?
Ilya did voice. We remade an old video. I remade an old video.
I remember voicing it, or like you sent me the script, and I saw, because it when Jesse sends me scripts, sometimes it's the whole script, and it'll have like, you know, so and so's gonna do this part. Here's what you're voicing, and it'll have all the parts. So I saw like Conrad and Dr. Wily, and I was like, my voice is gonna be with their voice. Oh.
Yeah.
I feel cool. So like I shared it to like some of my friends that knew like Dr. Wily and Commonwealth Realm, and I'm like, not only do I voice the with Jesse, I was with them too. They were like,
Nice.
Did you actually like meet with them? I voiced the video.
We
that
did
they
in
also
LA.
I mean, it's all international,
Yeah.
so it's not likely that you'd actually like
I
meet
know,
with them,
I know.
right? There's
I mean,
all
we were lucky that
Commonwealth
we
is
even
its
met
own
Conrad.
place.
Yeah,
And
but
then
we
Dr. Wiley's somewhere else. He's
we did
Dutch,
meet
isn't
with
he?
the Commonwealth people in LA though.
That would
yes.
be cool. Also, piggybacking off of what Jesse said about not releasing all of the remakes and re-releases all at once. As was already mentioned, a money reason. Oh, he gone. As was already mentioned, the money reason. Like, think about it. Like, if they just all of a sudden released like 5 different Zelda games as a bundle, or like none of us would have the money to do that right now. It would take forever to buy those. Or if they just released all of them, because I know some people have said, why don't they just release multiple? Because we would all just pick our favorite of the 5 and buy that, and then wait a long time. Like,
What's retirement savings? I gotta spend all my money on Zelda.
I'm
like,
paying.
Who's
for
saving money?
college
The
loans.
collection came out, and people are going to buy
Oh.
that. So Nintendo already
Oh.
knows that they have their claws in us,
Exactly.
and they can just
And
give us
they'll-
anything.
And they know they'll make a ton more money if they release one at a time and give nice space in between. And we'll be like, oh, look, a new one. Oh, look, a new one. Oh, look, a new one.
Yeah.
You know, as we were wanting to do, even though we literally predict that stuff happening, we still are like, oh, yay. Because we're Zelda fans. But also, speaking for me personally, I would feel so overwhelmed, even if I did have the money to buy, like, 4 Zelda games at once if they all came out at the same time. I would be so overwhelmed. I would be like, which one do I replay first? Well, I mean, I love Wind Waker, but it's been so long since I played Twilight Princess. Or do I do Skyward Sword since I've never done it? And I would be overwhelmed. So if it's like, here's Skyward Sword, I'd be like, okay, I'll do that. Gets bored. Okay, new one. Okay, new one. But that's just me. Also, I just drank a ton of tea.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
No, that's actually a good point though. Is that I'll just pick up where you're leaving off there. But there was I don't know if you remember this, ages and ages ago, Jesse did a video talking about A Link to the Past getting delayed, and it was because there was another game they were releasing. Was it Dragon Quest, something like that? And they didn't want the games to compete
Yeah.
with each other for
Yeah.
sales. So if they released one and then waited and released the other, then people would be more likely to just buy both. Whereas if
Yeah.
they release the 2 of them at the same time, people are going to just pick one or the other, right? So it'd be the same thing with Zelda. Yeah, if they release all the Zelda games at once, no one's going to buy all of them. If they slowly roll it out, then what do you know? We're going to buy all of them like that. So in a way to... oh yes, Matt Fry, I do have my Christmas lights on, but thank you. Yes, in that same way, like they don't want to compete with themselves. So as much as we'd love to fantasize about it, it's going to be a slow roll if they did re-release everything.
Yeah.
Also, Hylian Luke in the chat, who's been on the podcast,
Yeah.
he mentioned something which actually I was going to bring up as well. He said did the NES Zelda released on the Switch Online service count as one of their 2018 releases?
Yes.
I say yes, I think so.
Because they had to go in and actively work on and mod the game. Even if it did just
Yeah.
take like an hour, they still
But they
had
did-
to do it.
They did not just the release of the game, which was like basically straight port or emulation, but they also did the special version, which is like an easier
The
easy mode
discard
version.
version.
The discard version? Bless you.
And in Japan, the original Legend of Zelda released on the disc. It didn't release on cartridge, so it had better sound and everything.
Right.
The
But there's
Famicom
special
disc system.
version. Have
Yeah,
you seen this, Jesse?
I think he was
special
talking
version
about the
itself?
special version. That's what he was asking about.
There's okay, so that means there's 3
The one
versions,
with the mod.
technically?
What's it called? The Life of Luxury is what it was.
I don't know.
in Japan.
But there's a version on Switch Online, on the Switch Online NES thingy, whatever it's called.
Yeah, there's the
There's
NES
the regular
version.
Zelda.
There's the Famicom Disk System version, and then there's the Life of Luxury version.
Isn't it called Life of Luxury? I thought it was just called Legend of Zelda Special, and it just starts you with the blue ring and some items and a lot of cash.
All of the articles, we're calling it the Life of Luxury, and I think that's because it does start you off with everything. So it's like you're living the life of luxury.
That makes sense, but nowhere in the game itself or on the Switch Online service does it call it that.
I don't know.
So that's what I was confused.
I do want to say earlier, Lorulian historian, the TGL Medora, he asked something about a super collaboration. There are a few videos on my channel to where it is literally every single member of the old Chamber of Sages when it was still active. So like Commonwealth Realm, Dr. Wily, McIntyre, HMK, Zeltic, Vortexy, Zeshix, I think was his name. Yeah, Zeshix, and then Zelda Conqueror. So there are a few videos that literally have all of them together, but there's one in particular that has everyone on it that's like 18 minutes long, and it's about the sages from Ocarina of Time, which was more of a group collaboration. Like everyone came in and wrote parts of it and decided on. So like there's some parts of it that I don't necessarily agree with, but it was a group collaboration, and it's like 18 minutes long, and everyone recorded different sections. So like each of the Chamber of Sages member recorded a part for each of the sages in the theory, and it's like me and HMK and Vortexy Gaming and Commonwealth Realm and everyone, like literally everyone's in the video.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was like back when I first started getting back into Zelda, and it became an obsession.
Yeah. But that video is really cool because it wasn't just voiced by everyone, but there was like 5 or 6 different people that were all actively writing the script. So it was like a big collaboration where not everyone agreed with everything, but we wanted to get stuff from everyone in there. It was really cool. But yeah, Tubes. Before we move on to the next topic, you got to talk about what Zelda games you realistically think are coming out in the next few years, if Nintendo is indeed going to be releasing a new Zelda game every year. Which, obviously, is not going to be like a new Breath of the Wild every year. It's going to be like Hyrule Warriors 2, or a new 2D game, or a remake, or whatever.
I was going to say, when you say new, I feel like more realistically they would be like, they'd be currently working on like one like brand new game, while they would be like releasing like HD remakes and bringing us some 2D action.
Yeah.
So really, like the only thing that's like really on my list right now is bringing some of those HD remakes forward. Like they teased for the HD Skyward Sword, so please give me that. Do not tease about it, just give it to me. And,
Yes.
and that's honestly, that's like the biggest thing that's on my list right now.
Yeah, the Skyward Sword thing, I would say if it is not announced by January, then Aonuma is just very mean and cruel. Because he... So Aonuma, like, in the video that I made talking about it, where like before Majora's Mask 3D released, Aonuma and Miyamoto and everyone was like, we'll listen to the fans. If they want it bad enough, then we might make it. And then there's other times where he's asked about it, and he's like, no, we have no plans for that right now. When literally he knew they had been working on it since the release of Ocarina of Time. There were even some interviews where he was like, we're thinking about remaking A Link to the Past, and we're thinking about remaking Majora's Mask, and we're not sure which one we want to do. When realistically, he had 2 separate teams remaking both of them at the same time. So that's some of the stuff that they do. They want to wait for the right time to announce something. But the thing with Skyward Sword is they canceled and ended the... Daniel and I, we went to some of the last Symphony of the Goddess Zelda concerts. And we were lucky enough, I don't know if it was Nintendo, the producer guy Jason?
Jason Michael Paul.
Yeah. He
Man
hit
with 3 first names.
Yes. So Jason. I was thinking Jason Todd, but that's the Robin that's one of the Robins.
The Red Hoods.
Yeah. So anyways, the Red Hood, Batman's sidekick, gave us tickets and let us interview him for the Symphony of the Goddess. No, okay, so Nintendo canceled those concerts like right at the beginning of 2018. So Al Numa walked out on stage to a live audience knowing everyone was going to be focusing on this Zelda concert because it was the only one that was happening in 2018. It had been almost a year since they had had any others. So he walked out knowing everyone was paying attention. Everyone would be commenting on what he said, knowing it was going, because they sold online tickets to it to where you could stream it live across the world, knowing like hundreds, possibly thousands, maybe millions of people were watching online. Other people were going to be watching the like video on demand version. Articles were going to be written. Everyone was paying attention. And he knowingly walked out on stage and said, "I know what you're thinking. Skyward Sword on Switch." That's not something like knowing everyone is paying attention to this. You don't just go out and tease something like that and then the next day be like, "No, we don't have any plans for that." Like that's just not something that they would do. So obviously they are working on it. They just want to wait for the right time to announce it. Yeah. So anyone have any final things before we move on to the next thing?
No, I mean you covered it. If people are curious about that a bit more, I would say go watch Jesse's video on it. It's on this channel. You're watching the right channel. It's a really good video.
Click off of this video and go to that video.
After this one, after this podcast, then go watch that one because it covers it pretty well in depth. So, is good video. I'm just gonna keep promoting it.
It's good video. Yes.
It's good video.
Yes. In the videos like that, I like to use as many interviews and facts as possible. That way, it's not just me giving my opinion. It's Al Numa giving his opinion, I guess. The people that actually make the Zelda games. All right, so we can move on to the next one, right?
Yes.
So this one's a bit weird, so I'm gonna read off of it because it's not really an article. It's just a list of facts, I guess. And some of this I have from memory. So, all right, is everyone able to open it up?
Are you looking at the kind of funny thing?
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's roll.
Hello, everyone.
What thing?
It's kind of funny.
Sorry.
It's kind of funny.
Well,
it's
not the hilarious thing.
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorite YouTube channels. They all used to work at IGN, and then they broke off and started their own thing.
Oh, I have the second link opened.
That's
That's the link.
yeah. It's
It's like a list of the Game of the Year
yeah.
stuff.
Yes, it's the Game Awards thing. But it's tied in with the kind of funny thing.
Okay.
All right, so you'll be looking at the bottom of that where it has the rumored games. And Daniel is licking his lips.
Oh, heavy breathing! Oh my god, sorry, I just saw Game Over and I just...
Alright, so, hello everyone. What is Ilya? Is she frozen? No, are you okay? I didn't... Oh, she's gone now. Oh my gosh. Hello? Ilya, are you okay?
It was lagging a lot, so I
Okay.
was like, it's probably my end, so I left and came back in. I didn't hear like anything except Kayla going, heavy breathing! That was all I heard.
Also, Matt Fry in the chat, yes. D-Banana.
What?
D-Banana. What, did he
D-Banana?
donate? Is that why he
Banana?
said D-Banana?
No, he just asked banana?
Oh yeah.
With the question
There
mark?
were so many
Banana?
people that
Nein,
commented...
die Orangen.
So many people commented on the last videos and were like, banana?
Banana?
Or they were like, so, you know.
You know.
I love that because of that article.
Yeah. So many people
you
commented
know.
and was like, you know.
You know.
It's like, who translated this?
Yeah, Ilya, or not Ilya, Chubes, you missed out on all that. There's a lot of jokes made on the last podcast.
Yeah,
but
I'm
Monday.
so sorry, guys. I've been like really busy.
Yeah.
I just moved into a new place. I got a new job. Life is crazy, and I haven't had time for anything other than breathing.
And
Breathing's good.
bananas.
I highly
Arguably not
recommend
even
it.
enough time for that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse, as all of you may know me. Here with us is Ilya, Chiblima, and Daniel, and we have some rumors and predictions for some surprise announcements for the Game Awards presented by Jeff Keighley, and the Kinda Funny showcase happening the next day, which almost no one is talking about because they don't really know what it is, because it's replacing the PlayStation conference. Because usually PlayStation has the PSX the day after the Game Awards, but PlayStation is pulling out of E3. They canceled their own PSX conference. They are canceling their appearances at almost every other conference next year as well. Presumably to gear up towards the announcement of the PlayStation 5. Because, again, presumably, all of the games they would have to announce or show off that they're working on would be games that they would be showing off for the PlayStation 5. And since they don't want to reveal PlayStation 5 games until they reveal the PlayStation 5, they can't really show anything, because everything that's in development is not in development for the PlayStation 4. They do have a few games coming out, but it's not nearly as many as they would typically have. So anyways, at the Game Awards, they have announced on their Twitter, which is where they're posting almost all of their updates, on their Twitter and on their YouTube channel. I think their YouTube channel is called Game Slice. But almost everyone's going to be restreaming it, so you will have no trouble finding the Game Awards. But they have announced that they have more surprise announcements this year than any other year, and they have bigger announcements than they have any other year, which is kind of crazy because last year they had the reveal of Breath of the Wild DLC, which was huge. Like, it literally won Game of the Year, and they had DLC shown off for the Game of the Year. I don't think it could really get much bigger than that.
Jesse,
Yes.
we got a super chat.
No way. Read it off, please.
Linkage 187 says, "You guys are awesome."
Thank you.
Thank you. For real. If you got a question,
Yeah, give us your
Please.
question.
give it to us,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about what you said. Thank you so much. Wow, that's a $9.99.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Again, yes. So, with the Game Awards, they're going to have like 20 to 30 announcements, I imagine, because it seemed like they had over 20 announcements last year. Because it was literally every 5 minutes they were like, here's a new game. So, if they have even more this year, I don't know how they're going to fit it all in there. And then the next day, Kinda Funny, who, for those who don't know, I've gotten the Game Over Jesse name from, with his blessing, Game Over Greggy. He kind of had like a weird freak out. I don't know if it was a freak out. He kind of had one when he found out that they were pulling out of E3, to where he's like, that can't be true, because he's really close with PlayStation. And so he had like a similar thing happen whenever PSX was canceled this year, because it had been the first time since they started it that they had canceled it. And it's literally the perfect time to have a conference, because everyone's already in the town for the Game Awards, and this is literally the next day. So since nobody was doing anything on that day, he was like, why don't we just do something? Because like whenever the Game Awards had their very first like Celebrity Gamer of the Year, or whatever they called it, like the very first award, it was like PewDiePie and Markiplier and Game Over Greggy and a bunch of other people, and Greg was the one that like won the very first award for it, which is crazy because he was going against people with like 40 and 50 million subscribers. Anyways, that's off topic. I'm just fanboying a bit. But he was kind of known as like the #1 most famous games journalist when he was working at IGN. And then he started his own thing, kind of funny, made a bunch of friends in the games, and he was like, I can just do my own thing. And everyone, like, they all already basically tell him all the secret games they're working on because they keep it a secret. And he was like, why don't I just do my own conference to where people come to us to reveal the games? And that's what they're doing. And they have over 50 games that they're going to be showing off, a lot of which are going to be brand new announcements as well. And there are third parties and first parties all showing off stuff. Like even Sega announced they were going to be showing off a brand new game for the first time. Even though they're third party, they're still, they used to be first party. So, anyways, we have a list of rumored announcements for this, I guess. Daniel, or one of you other guys, Ilya, choose. Would one of you guys like to run down some of these rumored games at the bottom of the list?
Which part of the list?
It's at the very bottom where it says announcements.
The bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And then it has the confirmed games and then the rumored games. But really the Avengers thing shouldn't be rumored because the guys, the Russo brothers?
Yeah.
That are like the people who are literally making Avengers 3 and 4 are showing up to this to announce something. So obviously, like, it's confirmed, but they have it in the rumors because it's not technically confirmed. Anyways, yeah, go on, Ilya. Sorry.
Okay, so on WrestlingForum.com, the bottom. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it says announcements, games that will feature Obsidian's new RPG, their last before Microsoft purchased, and then it says Anthem. In addition to that, it says there will be more than 10 brand new games announced, but at least one is some mobile game, and apparently nobody cares. That's what it says right there. And then for rumored games, it has the Avengers Project, which you mentioned, Mortal Kombat 11, excuse me, can't read Roman numerals, sorry. That's Roman numerals for 11. Borderlands 3, Alien Blackout, Dragon Age 4, Metroid Prime 4 plus Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, Death Stranding because Keighley and Kojima, they're best friends. Jeff Keighley, the host, and Kojima, like after Kojima got fired or let go or whatever from Konami, Keighley had to give Kojima like an honorary award or something like that because Konami refused to let Kojima accept the award for Metal Gear 5. Yeah. So they were like, if you accept the award, we will have our lawyers there. So they had like a 10-minute thing where Kojima wasn't on camera, but Keighley, because he's like best friends with him, were basically shaming Konami, and then everyone in the audience was like, F you, Konami, at the Game Awards while everyone was watching. So, yeah. Anyways, continue. Really? Anyway, you say Konami, and I think of Kume Kotake from...
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Twin Robot.
And then the last one is Xbox's Winter of Arcade, and that's the last one on the list.
Yeah. So you guys got excited for something on here. What?
Okay, so I'm excited for an entirely different reason than Daniel would be
excited
for. Borderlands 3. Borderlands is probably one of my favorite non-Nintendo game series because, like, we got Borderlands 2 in 2012. And then we got pre-sequel, which was basically garbage in 2014. So, like, it's not like I've been waiting a really long time. But I'm just so excited because, like, I was
feel
really
the pain of us
up.
Metroid fans.
Did you get the Handsome Jack collection?
Yeah, so basically, for me, like, anything after Borderlands 2 was really not that interesting and really not that good. So I am just very excited.
All right.
No, I really enjoyed Borderlands as well. Like I played the first and second. I did not play pre-sequel, mostly due to word of mouth that it was.
Yeah, I pre-ordered pre-sequel, and it was just I can't get through it.
But I definitely played Borderlands, like the first one. I think, like, I can acknowledge that Borderlands 2 is the better game, but I still think I really like the first one better, just as a total personal bias. I played through the story of Borderlands 1 4 times, and I only played through Borderlands 2 once. So
yeah, no, the story in Borderlands 1 is amazing. The only thing that's a little bit different for me is that Borderlands 2 gameplay-wise is a lot more polished, so it's easier to go back for the replay value, whereas playing Borderlands 1 feels so
yeah, no, I like it a lot better, but there's things I like about both. The DLC in the first one is also really fun.
It is, it really is.
But yeah. Should play that on stream. We'll do a
actually,
co-op.
I've been planning on playing it.
We'll do a co-op playthrough. Actually, that would be bomb. That would
be so bomb.
But I was totally getting excited for Metroid as well because
because
I love me some Metroid, and it makes sense that Metroid Prime 4 would be revealed because they revealed Metroid at Game Awards stuff like nonchalantly at non-Nintendo Direct stuff before, and we got like that title screen for Metroid Prime 4. That was like a placeholder title screen, not even probably not even the real one because it doesn't have the subtitle, and we're still waiting. We're still waiting.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, and there's also the rumors for the trilogy HD on there. So
that'd be cool. I don't think I need to play through the Prime trilogy again. I played through them all like quite a few times, but I'd still probably do it. I'm gonna be honest. Those are great games. So, bitch.
All right.
That's all I got.
You look like you have an excited or anxious face, Tubes.
Oh.
You were like doing this, like you were.
No, I'm just the state of my being.
You're plotting out an evil
very anxious
plan.
Right now, so.
All right, Ilya, are you excited for anything?
Not the ones they listed. I don't really care.
Well, that's the thing. They literally showing off like over 20 things at the Game Awards, over 50 at the day after. So there's potentially over 70 different things that's going to be shown off and announced. And chances are 5 of them are going to be Nintendo Switch things, I would say, if not at least 20 of them. So you can put in your own guesses. Like, I would say an Animal Crossing trailer, more Smash Bros stuff.
If there's anything Animal Crossing, I'll definitely go wild. I'm sure Kayla will be right there with me.
You have no idea. So I have been trying to get, like, ever since the brief announcement of a new Animal Crossing game, I stopped playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp because now all I can think about is new Animal Crossing. I'm not interested in anything else other than that.
So here's...
It's funny, I had the opposite reaction. I started playing it again and have been like, I need to get used to this mechanic. I bet some of this will appear in the new one.
Oh my god.
So here's an idea. What if, like, in, like, the Nintendo world, they could make up the reason that Animal Crossing is taking so long to release because they are on their adventure to, you know, the Smash Bros thing, and Animal Crossing can't release until they make their way back.
I just want Animal Crossing.
It's sort of similar to Sakurai said that he wanted to make Smash Brothers on Wii U and 3DS. There was an interview where he's like, I really want to make Smash Brothers on Wii U and 3DS because it would be the first HD Smash Brothers. There's a lot of ideas that I have, but Nintendo's not letting me do it until I make Kid Icarus on the 3DS. So we're going to start making that, and then I can work on Smash Brothers. Yeah, but of course that's right after he releases Brawl, and he's like, I don't want to work on Smash Brothers anymore. But then like a few months later, he's like, I really want to work on Smash Brothers.
Just kidding. cheating.
Yeah.
Well, I guess as far as games that I would love to hear more about, because obviously this list of announcements is not a cumulative list, and I mean a lot of them are guesses or speculation. But if I had my way, my heart, you know, something Animal Crossing related, something Zelda related, if not more than one thing Zelda related, obviously.
All 70 things are Zelda related.
Gosh. I would be too overwhelmed. I would be like, I'm not sure if this is good or bad because I'm overwhelmed. But
Yeah.
Zelda.
Too much money.
There aren't a ton of franchises that I'm heavily into, so I guess anything Mario, I'd be like, oh, cool. But yeah, I don't know. Those are my main two things are, I think, unless I'm forgetting something, Animal Crossing and Zelda. So that's all I can think of.
All right, Daniel.
I really want to know more about this Avengers project.
Oh, it's so
I'm really curious about this.
a couple of years ago, the history of it, along with Spider-Man and all of the other Marvel games, Disney had a lot of deals in place with a lot of game companies, and they were all making mediocre games. Like, they were just putting out like a Spider-Man game every year just so they could make money because people are going to buy Spider-Man. And Disney and Marvel got tired of all of these mediocre games. They're like, we're making really good movies, why aren't we making really good video games? So they decided to partner with only really good companies who would take their game serious. And instead of putting out a mediocre thing every year, they would work on the games as if they were working on a first-party, huge AAA game. So the first game to come out of that was Insomniac working on Spider-Man PS4. And although it was a third party,
that turned out pretty good.
yeah, and although it was, a third-party Insomniac game, they like PlayStation, because they wanted the deal with Disney and Marvel, they took it really seriously. And Square Enix is doing the same thing, to where I think it was the team that worked on Tomb Raider is working on the Avengers, and they've only released a teaser to where it was like it was the camera panning over everything, and it looked like, at the time, it looked so realistic. I was like, this has to just be like a CG scene that isn't running on a console, or it's for like PlayStation 5, because it was just like panning over and you would see like a really beaten up Captain America shield with like all of the other weapons, like Thor's hammer that's like all cracked and stuff. And it was just the announcement that Square Enix was working on it, and they are the ones, I think it was the team that made the Tomb Raider games. So the Tomb Raider games have always been, since they remade them, they've always been realistic as well. So they're just making like a really realistic, high quality Avengers game. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, similar to the movies, that all of the Marvel games are also going to cross over. Because it would be really cool, after playing Spider-Man, if that same Spider-Man appeared in this Avengers game. So that would be really cool. But
that would be awesome.
That's just like fan wishing, though. But yeah, that's what they're doing. They're just making like a really high quality, polished AAA Avengers game, instead of just like, hey, we have the Hulk, let's spend $100 to make a Hulk game. But yeah, they're making like really, really serious games, so that's really cool. But that's all that I know about it. Yeah. So.
Well, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Game. I don't have Spider-Man. My brother owns it though.
Your brother?
But
yeah. But you played it at E3, and then like 40,000 people. I named the video just Daniel playing Spider-Man, and like so many thousands of people were just like, hi. I think
so many people were like, hi, you suck at this game. And I'm like, it's a game on a console I don't know, and the game is not out yet, and I'm like learning how to play it for the first time, and they're like, plays just like Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I played Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube like a decade ago.
Yes, seriously.
And also, it doesn't play that much like it. It's actually way more polished. So, anyways, yeah.
Yeah. And then my demo version wasn't so polished because it crashed on me.
Oh yeah, there was that.
So yeah.
But I had a lot of fun playing it, and it is a really very well polished game. Like it feels very good to play. Like, you know how this is something that someone has cited, like something that's good about Mario games, why they're so fun to play is because it's fun to just move around as Mario. And that can be the same can be said for Spider-Man and PS4. It's like feels good to just to web sling and to run and jump and all these, like they feel very fluid and very good. Yeah. Yes, that's why I always nitpick games on people's walking animations. If I can't walk and feel comfortable doing it in a game, it's like deal breaker. Done. So. Yeah.
All right. Do you have any other games that like you're just looking forward to that might be announced?
Metroid. Just, and they might announce like what some of the DLC stuff for Smash 4 is as well. I could see that, but I don't know. That seems like a bit of a stretch.
Oh, there was a piece of news where Sakurai said that everyone will want to buy the DLC characters. Everyone will be very, very excited about them. So basically him just hyping it up as anyone would hype up their stuff, but he seemed really really into it. Like he's like, these are you will want to play with these characters.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
But I mean, Miyamoto, sometimes like what his idea of what's gonna be like great, it can be hit or miss sometimes. He's a genius man, but sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean that he translates to what like the general population of gamers are like, right?
Yeah.
So
and we all know those DLC characters, people are gonna be upset for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
It's true. Although I really love Sakurai's comment where he was like, please only buy it if you feel confident in it. You know, and like not instead of just being like, give us money, like it seems like a very humble attitude, and I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a thing. Don't get angry about it, people, because he said outright, only buy it if you like it and you're confident in it.
Yep.
So you have no reason to be mad. That's all. So.
All right. Choops. What?
Me.
Yeah. Hi, you person in the bottom left.
Hi. Yeah, no, like the only games that are really on my radar right now would be like another Zelda game, Animal Crossing, of course, and I've been wanting to hear more about anything Borderlands related for a very long time, so I hope that is more than just a rumor.
Did you even like know of a rumor of that game being in development?
So I know that the people that are the company that did Borderlands, they had another project that they had to finish before they could start working on Borderlands 3. So I know that Borderlands 3 is going to happen. I just don't know when.
Any other games?
No.
No?
That's it.
All right. What?
Why is your house slanted?
So, because there's so okay. Okay, stick.
I'm sure your webcam's level and your house is slanted.
Stick with me, guys. What if? Okay, because they said there was going to be a phone game that no one cared about, right? Nintendo.
Didn't they say it was going to be Mario Kart and everyone will care about it?
No. So here's the thing. They
like this.
They said
I don't
that.
want that.
I'll try it though.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so Nintendo did say they're working on Mario Kart World Tour, I think. And like that's going to be their next big mobile phone game. So it could be released there because I don't think it would be something they would want to save for their own Nintendo Direct. It seems like something small enough to where they could just announce it almost anywhere. Like it could just pop up on TV in a commercial one day and I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But anyway, stay with me. What if, instead of Animal Crossing Switch, we get Pocket Camp 2?
No.
No.
No Pocket Camp 2?
No.
It doesn't need a new one. They update it like every week. I swear, every time I get on, I have to update it.
Updates for that game. I logged in today and it was like, you have a cabin you customize now on top of being a campground owner.
That's a recent thing.
So here's a cool thing.
Cool, but we need a new one on the Switch.
I logged in to Pocket Camp on my phone for the very first time like a month ago or 2 months ago. And it already had like a weird username for me that was not my name. And it was like some random girl's name. And either it gives you a generic name when you first start, or some random person managed to get my email.
Weird. Because mine's Chublima.
Yeah.
Mine's
Delete her save data.
No, don't do it.
Alright. I guess we can go on to the mailbag.
Side note though.
Yeah.
But what's Isaac in the chat says Elder Scrolls 6 is on his radar.
Oh yeah.
That's a very good point. We didn't even talk about it. They've shown us like a panning scenery shot at E3 of Elder Scrolls 6. I think that's the only thing we've seen of it.
Yeah, but they said they were
What'd they say?
They said they were
No, okay, so like there was a new game that they announced that they said Starfield. Yeah, okay, so they announced Starfield and they said we have other stuff that we're going to show, but both of these things are really far away. And they hinted towards like Starfield being a next gen game. Like it's not going to come out until like PlayStation 5 and everything comes out. And then after Starfield releases, then they're going to be working on Elder Scrolls 6.
I feel like they'll probably still have a team working on it. Even through like probably doing co-production, like doing both at once. But even like it doesn't need to show us much. Just a tease to keep it on everyone's mind, you know?
Yeah.
Because like even now we've seen nothing and I forgot about it.
And
no, that's really funny actually. So I was playing God of War yesterday, and like I don't know where it like popped up in my head. I was like, oh, I can't wait for another Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. And then the next Fallout game's probably like 10 years away, because
hopefully they do it right.
They would be making like the Starfield game, which is like 2-3 years away, and then Elder Scrolls would be like a year or two after that. And then after Elder Scrolls releases, then they would come back around to like Fallout 5. So that's like one game's like 3 years away, the other one's 5, and then Fallout would be like 7 or 8.
They've done at least 76 Fallout games now.
Yeah. Which it is responsible because Bethesda gave us all those masks. We were able to make the best E3 video ever.
Oh my gosh.
It's watching me now.
Yes.
It's always with us.
It is, like it's every week. It's right behind me there.
Also, if you guys are wondering why I'm still eating cheddar popcorn from Daniel's Child, and that's what I'm doing right now.
It's true. He had a fundraiser. I love it. Oh no.
So disturbing.
It's terrifying, but great.
I put mine on, but I left mine at Cameron's place when I got back from E3, and I never picked it up again.
It's just disturbing. Just saying.
They should put this. Someone should just make a mod for the Happy Mask Salesman to where he just has this mask.
Yeah, just like among all the other ones on his backpack, just that one hanging out with him.
Yeah.
So during the Halloween season, I actually stopped at Spirit Halloween, and I saw one of those Fallout masks, and it was like $15 or something. I was like, oh, what's this? I got that for free.
Yeah, they were
just like handing them out, dime a dozen. That was great. We didn't rehearse that, by the way. That was just
improv.
That was great. Woohoo!
Yeah. All right. So,
Mailbag? Mailbag.
Mailbag.
Yeah, we can have a short one today, right?
Mailbag. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
118.
Cool.
Good work. I want to shower and get my life together, because,
What's a shower?
this week, Daniel, I started on the phones all week.
Yay!
Terror. I've been anxious about it all week.
Terror.
Great.
All right.
Oh, phone calls terrify me.
So here's what you do, everyone. You click the link that I posted in the chat to join the Discord, and then you post your questions in the Zelda mailbag. But
Yeah.
we have a special question for this week's first question of the mailbag, which is actually a good question. It's good for like a discussion thing. I have to bring it up on my phone. It's kind of a long one as well. Alright. So... oh, that is long. Okay, here it is. Alright. Everyone ready? Yes?
Yep.
Do one of you guys want to do the intro for it, or...
Every time I
No.
do it, you guys ruin it.
oh.
What?
Wow.
What you mean we ruin it? Rude.
You guys distract.
I'm not the one with the slanted house.
I fixed my house, okay?
She just left her webcam the same and tilted her house to fix it. She has a what is it? A Geodude that used Earthquake to like
Oh,
fix
man,
the house.
Earthquake is a terrible move.
Geodude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how it works because I had a Charizard and he's flying in the air, and then the opponent used Earthquake. This is a real thing that happened when I was playing Pokemon. The opponent used Earthquake. He's like literally not even on the ground. He's flying and he took damage. I'm like, how did that hurt him? The ground shook. He's flying in the air.
Yeah. In like some of the Pokemon games, like Pokemon Stadium, I remember if you did that to a flying Pokemon, it would be like this attack was ineffective, or like you missed.
Yeah, no, it supposedly has no effect on flying type, but I think because Charizard is technically fire type and not flying type, even though he's freaking flying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be wrong. Pokemon fans are gonna roast me, but
Oh my
Alright.
gosh.
I'll do the mailbag. Alright.
you got it.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse as all of you may know me. This is the Zelda mailbag for the 63rd episode of the Hylian Gamescast. Here with us is Ilya above me, Chibalima to my left, and above her is the one and only
No one.
handsome Daniel.
Ow, ow.
So today in the mailbag, we're going to be answering a lot of really great questions sent in from you guys, but sometimes we just don't have enough time to answer everyone's questions. So you can head to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can get a lot of really cool rewards, such as shout-outs and guaranteeing your questions to be featured on the show, or giving us your own discussion topics to talk about, just as Jacob, Michael, Elmer, Bootleg Boy, Vortex, Gus, Justin, That One Pancake, Key of Time, Monica, Casey, Link Use the Triforce, Megan, Lunarium, Robbie, Shadow to Us, Rusty, and Lovable Christy. I do need to update that list though, which will be done for the next week's podcast. So, yeah. And our first question comes from...
Pulse out his phone.
yeah.
What was it?
Because I can't bring out the Discord because
Bunny?
it's on my video. Yeah, it's...
Snow Bunny.
So,
Snow Bunny.
comes from Snow Bunny and Princess Snow Bunny, because they have two accounts on the Discord
Oh, they
server.
are the same person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's okay.
now this is kind of long, but there's some good stuff here. Says, my question is, Zelda Twilight Princess was made for the Wii, and then they put the same game for the Wii U with no motion controls. So I think they should do the same for Skyward Sword Zelda for the Switch, like they have both motion controls to choose from, like they should put in the game. Like, choose no motion controls or have motion controls. I'm not a fan of motion controls because of the sensor bar keeps lagging, which is something that I seen someone else mentioning earlier. It was Pierre Schneider, I think, the co-owner, co-creator of IGN. Because of the Skyward Sword rumor, he went back to play Skyward Sword on the Wii U because they had ported the game to the Wii U, and he had said that they really need to fix the sensor bar, but then obviously there were a bunch of people commenting saying they had no problems with the sensor bar, which I didn't have any problems, but anyways. Now moving on to Breath of the Wild for Wii U and Switch, I think they should put a third DLC. I would like to see the DLC for Breath of the Wild be where anyone that can play as Zelda, the girl, and any of the champions, because modding can be hard on people. Especially for me, because I don't have all the stuff for modding, and I don't know how to mod in video games. I do have a Wii U. I really want to play as Mipha. She's my favorite. I love the Zora in all Zelda games, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess. I just think that'd be so cool. I've been playing Zelda games ever since I was like 10 years old. I'm now 24. By the way, I would like to also mention my birthday is February 14th, Valentine's Day, which is kind of awesome. Let's see, my order of playing Zelda is Ocarina of Time Zelda on Nintendo 64, 2 Majora's Mask on Nintendo 64, 3 Twilight Princess on GameCube, 4 same with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on GameCube as well, so I guess that's the Zelda Collector's Edition, although Ocarina of Time did release a few different times on the GameCube for the Wind Waker pre-order stuff with Master Quest, also Twilight Princess on Wii and Wii U, and finally Skyward Sword for the Wii, Wind Waker, Hyrule Warriors for Wii U, and last, Breath of the Wild. And I know I say I don't like motion controls that much, but what's really funny is I love playing Skyward Sword. I love this game because 1, Master Sword at the end of the game gets fully powered. Love that every time I do a Skyward Strike on enemies. 2, get the fully powered Hylian shield in the game. 3, from 1 to 10 minutes, I'm a 5 for flying around in the sky. Okay, yeah, so she's really quickly in the game. When you start out, you can start flying on the Loftwing. Very beautiful color graphics, just colorful everywhere you go in the game, just so pretty and very bright, and I love that. So yeah, mainly 2 questions there. Skyward Sword, should it be remade with motion controls, or should they completely remove the motion controls like they did for the Wii version of Twilight Princess that they brought over to the Wii U? And second, we've answered this a few times, but what sort of DLC would you like to see for Breath of the Wild? They want DLC where you could play as Zelda. Presumably a lot of people would like to play as Zelda while she's going through her all of the past memories, where like she literally has to get them to like carry Link's dead body to the that's another thing, is like, how do they get him up there? How do they carry his dead body on top of the Great Plateau that's like hundreds of feet? Well, I guess they have the Rito.
Yeah.
You just throw them.
you just throw them.
Goron throw.
Potatoes.
It's like the what is it? Is it the Whomping Willow tree?
He only weighs
in
8.5 apples.
Harry Potter?
Yeah, Whomping Willow.
Yeah, so like they just get the Deku tree to like bend back and launch him to the Great Plateau.
Well, it's possible the building that's like there on the Great Plateau was not fully destroyed by the time they brought him to the shrine, and it may have been because it was in like everything was in chaos at that point, so it may have been destroyed. The entrance to get to the Great Plateau may have been destroyed after he was in the shrine.
Touche, because there are like guardian ruins, like ruined guardians up there and stuff, right? So
that was my guess.
Yeah.
Can I also just throw out there that the Deku tree has a very thick trunk? I really
yeah,
hope
it does.
Try to bend backward.
He's too old to do that. He'd throw his back out.
That's one thick trunk on that tree. But can I also say they did not completely remove motion controls from Twilight Princess.
Oh yeah, it has the gyro.
That's the gyro aiming. So they left in the motion controls in the best way possible, while taking out the carpal tunnel. So
did you have the option? I mean, again, I haven't played Twilight Princess HD yet. I thought you had, I could be wrong, the option to do the original, like GameCube, or the mirrored.
You can do that.
Wii.
And
okay,
you can toggle that. You can toggle also the gyro controls, so you can actually technically take motion controls completely out and use only just thumbsticks. But everything takes so much longer to aim without gyro.
Yeah.
So it's phenomenal. It's a way better. But yeah, I mean the thing with Twilight Princess, it's the best version because you have all the options. You can even change the aiming point of view. So you can change whether, like, if Link aims with his bow, if you aim in the first person or third person. I just love, like, it's just those tiny details. I'm like, I love that you have those you can change those preferences, because
Yeah.
Yeah, because people who grew up with the GameCube version or the Wii version might have different, perspectives of what feels good and what doesn't. So the fact that you can just customize it like that, that's primo stuff.
Also, something that annoyed a lot of people on the GameCube version. There's a lot of people that played it to where it just didn't feel right.
Lack of equipping items.
On the GameCube version, the C-stick controls were inverted. So when you play it on the Wii U, the C-stick or the right analog stick acts like the complete opposite, and there is no way to change it.
You can't change that?
No.
Okay.
So
see, I played the Wii version and then not really
no, Wind Waker.
So in Wind Waker. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Wind Waker to Wind Waker HD. They changed the control stick. But yeah, that's just a random thing.
That is weird, but yeah, I mean it's I think it's more based on the GameCube version for Twilight Princess, but then I think they have like a lot of the elements for the Wii version, including the widescreen. But yeah, the GameCube version, there actually are some things that irked me about it, because this is putting a big date stamp on this. I rented the GameCube version from, it wasn't Blockbuster, but it was Rogers Video, and played that first, and then I bought the Wii version, because we had just got a Wii. And the GameCube version, on the Wii version, you can equip 4 items at a time. One is like on the your A button, and the rest are on the D-pad. In the GameCube version, you have the X and Y button, that's it. Because for some reason, talking to Midna is mapped to the Z button. Whereas like previous GameCube Zelda games, previous GameCube Zelda titles had a third item mapped to the Z button, or Z for you Americans. That just irked me, because it's like you have a D-pad you could use for this, and they didn't, because they're like, oh, the map controls, which no one cares about. Plus the HUD, because it's not in widescreen, the HUD really clutters. If you look at a screenshot of the game version of Twilight Princess, is like 90% HUD, and you've got like this narrow field of vision. There's too much HUD.
Do you remember the Skyward Sword HUD on the Wii? Where it has HUD. The entire Wii controller on the side.
The Wii remote on the side. It's like, as soon as you can turn that off, just turn it off. Too much HUD.
Yeah, it does. It has like the professional mode to where it clears it out.
Yes. That's why I like Breath of the Wild's HUD. You can just like, it's so small, it's so out of the way, but useful.
Such a good game.
Unrelated. Daniel, you've had a request from Zach.
Oh.
Bring forth your shield. He wants to know more about it. I said it's plastic.
Oh, it is plastic.
He just wants to know the size. Put your hand up by it so they have a... Yeah, oh. That plastic shield. Okay.
It's a good size. I think on a previous, last week maybe.
Yeah, it was last week.
About me getting this for Christmas, along with the Master Sword there, and how I thought it was a guitar. First, it was really weird, and I was like, I don't play guitar. I don't know why they bought me this guitar.
They're trying to tell me something.
I just saw the shape of it. I just saw like this shape in wrapping paper, right? And I was like, what the hell is this? Some kind of guitar? And I picked up, it was like this really like light guitar. Like, what the hell? What is in this thing? What is in this?
It's
tiny,
a ukulele.
Like, shape?
That's too big to be even a ukulele.
It could be a banjo.
It's an extra large ukulele.
Kayla, you wrote "old plastic" in the chat, and I read it as with the tone of "oh, banana."
You did the same thing I did.
Plastic.
Oh, banana.
Yeah. So, one other thing, someone commented on the last video, because we kept on talking about the cosplayer, because I was mentioning like the only real metal shield that I've ever seen, because you can buy the ones on eBay, but they're made out of like resin and stuff, like a resin mold, and then they're like cheaply painted or whatever. But she had one that was like actually made out of metal, and the metal was colored to look like the real Hylian shield. But she recently made a new Skyward Sword Zelda Link, not Zelda, Skyward Sword Link cosplay, and it was like, I remember the first time that I came across her cosplay, I was like, I'm questioning my sexuality because she looks like a dude, but she looks like a chick, and Link's looking really attractive, so I don't know what's going on. But
you know, because you're constantly asking me to take my shirt off when I'm streaming, I'm also questioning.
yeah.
I'm just, yeah, but he does say it's for science. So,
it is for science. No, but it's Sophie Reese. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She's like a popular for her Link cosplay because she has
it's a real good cosplay too.
Yeah, she has really good cosplay.
And then she made a video on my my channel a long time ago where she like goes over how she like puts on. It's really weird seeing like a chick start putting on makeup to make themselves look like a dude, but she does it, and she talks about how she made the tunic and everything.
The power of a good contour.
So
what were the two questions we were answering?
Skyward Sword.
So yeah, I mean, I would be down for them, and I think I've said this on previous podcasts as well. I would like to play it and use motion controls, but I think they should make it optional because of the accessibility, and because I think people are just frankly turned off by the idea of motion controls, even though they're good in some cases. Not always good. A lot of games just are like, shake it.
The waggle on the Twilight Princess.
Get your carpal tunnel in there. But a lot of the times, like the way games like Splatoon use motion controls are like super good, super good. The way Breath of the Wild uses its motion controls, super good. So make it optional, but you can't use like the Pro Controller and like the gyro for the sword swings, of course, but you can still, I think, map it in a way that if you have button presses in time with thumbstick movements, that you can make directional things, because you could do that in Ocarina of Time. I've mentioned that before. So if the N64 could do it, Switch can do it. So,
easily.
Yes, that is all. Thank you for attending, everybody. Have a good night.
Alright, going back to cosplay, can we have a tutorial of Tubes doing her Waluigi cosplay?
Doing my Waluigi? Funny, actually. So yesterday I was snooping, and I found a professional photo taken of me in my costume. And I just thought it was the most hilarious thing.
No way.
Show us. Where is this? Where's this photo? Where? Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Right?
I love it.
Now, how long did it take you to grow the mustache?
Honestly, it took me about 5 hours.
You must have to shave often. Every hour, on the hour.
Alright.
But in relation to the question that we were answering,
yes.
What is it? What was her?
Skyward Sword. How do you want it on the Switch?
Because she said,
would you want
get rid of
motion?
controls
Yeah.
completely. What's our opinion on that?
So for me, this is really weird because growing up, like, I never had an issue with motion controls, and I always thought it was really weird when I would have friends. They're like, "I'm so bad at this. I don't understand. I blame the controls," and I was like, "Dude, like, there's nothing wrong with them. You just suck at what you're doing." And so, like, I never had a problem with motion controls. But when it comes to, like, potentially bringing Skyward Sword over to the Nintendo Switch, people are talking about how, like, you won't be able to take out handheld mode because of the motion controls. And for me, that's like, I haven't put my Nintendo Switch in a dock in a very long time. Like, I think it's probably been a couple of months now. Like, I only do it when I go over to Cameron's place. Other than that, it's strictly handheld.
For real?
I beat Breath of the Wild handheld.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. way more often play it in docked mode because I love my Pro Controller to bits.
I don't have the time to sit in front of my TV and play video games. That's why I do handheld, because I'm always like on.
That's the beauty of the Switch, man.
That is it. That is it. Nintendo got us.
Yeah, they got us.
You can have it both ways.
So with the controls, there are 3 ways I think they could do it. Now, I have used this. It's stuck. This I can't bring it up anymore. This controller to play through Skyward Sword on the Dolphin emulator, to where you just use this right stick to swing the sword. You move the stick left, he swings the sword left. You move the stick up, he swings the sword up. You click the switch or the stick, and he does the sword beam thing. You move it in a circle, he does the spin attack.
How do you do the vertical spin attack? That's the magic of Skyward Sword Link. He can do a spin attack like in a horizontal way, and he can do a vertical spin attack somehow.
You can. It's weird. I don't know why it does it. You hold R2, and then you press
D2.
up. And then I forgot what it was, but there was something that you could do because you could program it any way you want. So I had to program my own special way. But there was one where I think you did the jump attack to where like he stabs, what was it called in Twilight Princess?
That finishing blow.
Yeah. You click the left and the right stick at the same time, and then he does the stabby stab to kill the spiders when you knock them on their back.
Okay, but can I also mention how the vertical spin attack makes no freaking sense? You have to do a standing front flip while spinning your sword, but like somehow you can't just do like the flip. The sword has to go 360 degrees around you. Like how does he accomplish this from a standing position?
Yeah. Magic. Yes.
What are they teaching these guys at this night academy?
Yeah, for real.
Crazy stuff.
Some real crazy next level stuff.
But yeah, so yeah, Ilya, your turn. I was just that's how I did it on my controller.
Yeah. As far as moving the motion controls to the Switch, I do think that definitely needs to be an option. As in, it needs to be the option to turn it off, but also it needs to be there. Because a point I've been hearing a few people make, and I agree, is that Skyward Sword was kind of built for motion controls. That's what they wanted to focus on with Skyward Sword, whether you liked the motion controls or not. So to take them out would be kind of weird, because that's kind of what the game is centered around. It's centered around that gameplay mechanic. And I think it would be, because a lot of people complain like about the motion controls, and I'm like, well, one, you might just be bad at it. Like, I complain, or I not really complain, but my frustration is I'm left-handed, and it felt weird to swing my left hand and have it go right, and I couldn't coordinate myself right-handed. That's not something I blame Nintendo for, though. That's just me being left-handed. Whereas there are tons of other left-handed gamers that had no issue with it. So it's just me. So I have no right to complain about that. And we know that the motion controls would be even better on the Switch. No matter how much you hated them, even though you were just uncoordinated or you forgot there's a calibrate button, it would be better on the Switch. No, I don't know if not having a sensor bar might make it worse in a certain degree, but the other reason why there needs to be an option for it to play without motion controls would be for portable gaming. That might be a reason why. But also, someone brought this up, maybe people who are handicapped to a certain degree, they can't get up and move around maybe as much, and it's easier for them to just sit and play normally. And then there's left-handers like me who are just weird and uncoordinated with my right hand. Sorry. So I'm
Mr. Well in the chat also said they were left-handed. So there are others with you, Ilya.
Yeah. But like I said, there were some people that were left-handed that said they were totally fine playing it right-handed. And I'm like, I'm just uncoordinated, and that's fine. And I'm okay with that. And I know that's just me. Or that's just an issue I have. So I think it is important to have both for those reasons. I don't think they should just get rid of motion controls, because, again, the game was centered around that. And I don't know. It seems like it would be weird to not have it because that's the gameplay mechanic it was centered around. And this is just me. I don't think they would do this, but I would love a third option in which the game is mirrored, like they did for bringing Twilight Princess to the Wii, so that you can do it left-handed. And one might be like, yeah, but left-handed people make up 10% of the population, and that's not, we don't know how many gamers are left-handed. If anything, it might just offer a challenge. Just be like, now try playing Skyward Sword left-handed and mirrored. I just think that'd be funny, but it would make life easier for me. But so that's a random third option that I would love, but I don't think would actually happen. So yeah, that's my opinion. Don't get rid of the motion controls, but do have the option to not do it.
I don't think they even have to mirror the whole game. Like, I don't know why they can't just mirror just Link.
Well, I guess I'm thinking because Twilight Princess, they did end up mirroring the whole game, but I guess they'd probably have the technology now to make it so you don't have to.
But see, that's the thing is, like, when they did that with Twilight Princess, I was like, why didn't they just mirror Link? Like, that just seems like so much less work than flipping the whole game and changing all of the dialogue where it says east instead of west and west instead of east. Like,
that's true. I didn't even think about the fact they had to do that.
Yeah, they did. And there's because I remember there's dialogue in it where it's explicitly will say east or west. It's just it doesn't make sense to me that it just feels like they're putting more effort into it. And if it's an issue with like fighting enemies because of like their shield placement or something, I think like they should make it so that you have to flip Link and the enemies, but leave the worlds like intact. Like, I don't know, Nintendo. Maybe they just took the easy route out or not. I don't know. I'm not a game developer, so. But that would be a better option.
There was just a simple button that it was just flip game. It could have been one of those things, but they probably
They're like,
would have
finally we have a use for this button.
It's like the self-destruct button. We have a use for it now.
Finally.
They can bring the Z button back on the very back of the controller to just flip the game.
Oh my gosh, that would be weird. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it from a left-hander. But I make up a very small minority of that, so.
Well, the chat is saying left banana wins.
You're the one saying left
but
banana.
others
I was like, I'm a right banana, and they're like, oh, bye, right banana. Sorry,
Only left-handed people are in their right mind.
See, Abigail says left-handers
controlled by the opposite side of the brain.
Funny actually. In my training group at work, there's actually a majority of people that are left-handed. So you're not alone.
If they
We died earlier, unfortunately, though.
What if they made the game out of a banana?
Don't put a banana in your
patent? Don't mind if I do.
Oh, the banana patent.
No, Zelda and Donkey Kong collab.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Oh,
So I'm not gonna mention it because I want to make the video because I don't want someone else to steal it, and I've been talking about it for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys probably know what it is.
Tell us in the chat.
Well, I've already mentioned it on a previous podcast. It's about bananas disappearing and then showing up somewhere else.
Type it in the chat. I have no
Can we
idea.
make another question?
Yeah.
Wait, there's another part to her question though.
Oh yeah, the Breath of the Wild DLC.
Oh, well, I have my answer to that.
All right.
I guess. I would love more DLC, but don't make me play as someone other than Link. My reasoning? Here's my reasoning. Because what's the point of playing as Link? He is a link between the character and the world, and those other characters are already their own character. You make Link who you want him to be. Those characters are already set. I would like to play them in spin-off games like Hyrule Warriors and things like that, though. That's the way I'd want to play them. But I'm totally open to more DLC, though.
I was gonna say, I feel a little bit weird playing as like Zelda. Like, as much as I love Zelda, I just feel like what does she really do?
Would you go read books?
Which
about
game?
Frogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I want to stay as Link though.
In
Twilight, when in other games where you like switch characters partway through, there's like a huge disconnect, and I feel like it should.
Yeah.
you know, like you basically would go into this DLC and would like give up all of your inventory and all your progress and stuff to play like a little short thing. It just defeats the purpose for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it was different in Majora's Mask because you got to play as other races, but that was because you were still Link and you had a mask
Link.
on.
You're still and that was just more of an extension of Link's abilities.
Yeah.
Rather than a totally new character. So I just feel, I don't know. I am satisfied with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I've played through the game 3 times, and I feel like, okay, I'm okay with moving on now. You know, like
1,800
I might do another
Koroks.
playthrough later, but I ain't doing that. But, but yeah, no, I just feel like I'm okay with no more DLC. I'm fine with that, to be honest.
I'd play it if it came out, but
oh yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not gonna be like, oh, no more DLC.
I'm not pining after it though. You know.
So there.
Yeah, I'm more excited for a new Zelda game than I am for DLCs.
But there is like, I made the comment that before I would have said there was like a 1% chance that we would get new Breath of the Wild DLC, even if it was something small, like just adding in like the Xenoverse gear that they added to like promote Xenoverse, where it's like, hey, here's free DLC, go get this armor in this random place, like here's just like a random quick side quest.
Those things are fun, but I never use them. Like none of that stuff is useful. Like I still end up using the Champion's Tunic because you can't even upgrade that stuff very much. Like, or the ones you can upgrade them once. Then it's like, okay, well, I can wear this thing and it gives me like 4 or 8 protection or whatever, or I can wear the Champion's Tunic which gives me 32. So it's a pretty obvious choice here. So,
but so before I would have said there was a 1% chance, but no, it's fine. I always interrupt you guys on purpose, accident. Anyways, I don't know. But the president came out a few weeks ago and said that he wanted to put new DLC in already released big games. And that made me think maybe like Nintendo's team could be hard at work on the next Zelda game, but then they could just have like a smaller team of like 10-15 people work for like a couple of months to bring in more DLC for Breath of the Wild. So Aonuma could be like 100% focused on all of these new games, while there's like the side team that's working on more Breath of the Wild stuff, because it was like 200 people from the Xenoblade team were hired to work on Breath of the Wild. So since the last Xenoblade game came out, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and then they had like 5 different DLC packs for it, they could just take one of those teams that was working on some of the DLC for Xenoblade and be like, hey, you know how to make DLC because you made DLC for your game, and they likely also worked on the DLC for Breath of the Wild because they worked on Breath of the Wild. So they could just get that game and be like, hey, make this quick new Shrine Guardian dungeon thing. And then they do that and then launch that. And then Aonuma literally has to do nothing because... yeah, like he literally would have to do nothing because he would have already came up with all of the designs for the divine beasts that were left out. Like if you look in the one book, there's like a bunch of weird divine beasts that were just taken out of the game. So they could just be like, okay, since Aonuma already approved of these designs, we can just take one of them and put it in the game. And then that's that. So there is like that 10% chance that you get more DLC from Breath of the Wild, but that's still super duper low. I imagine he may have been talking about Breath of the Wild because he did say big games that had released, and Breath of the Wild, one of the biggest games that has released. But he could have just as easily meant like Mario Kart or Pokken Tournament or Mario Odyssey, which I expect later this week to get Mario Odyssey DLC announced and thing. Hopefully like real multiplayer to where you're not just finding Luigi's balloons. You can actually like play 2-player together instead of someone getting carpal tunnel from wiggling a hat.
I need to finish that game.
Yeah.
I always stop playing right before a boss. Even though they're easy bosses, I get so much anxiety before bosses.
I had such
Like,
a hard time
if I
putting that
die,
game
I'll just
down.
do it again. But I get so freaked out that I stop playing. I think the one I'm at right now is the first time you go up to Bowser's ship and he's in the white tux and everything. The first time you go to fight Bowser, I just froze and I was like, I can't do this. And that was like 2 weeks ago or something.
You have to make sure you have fairies in your bottles and some potions, and then you can get through the boss easier.
That doesn't exist.
What?
That's only in
I
Zelda.
think you're confused. I think that's the wrong game, man.
That's Zelda?
I did find a way to defeat Phantom Ganon through a tiny little glitch in the Forest Temple.
Oh, really?
That way, like, because I always would freak out about finding him in the painting, and I figured out a way to never get shocked by him if I can't get to him in time. You know the poles that, I don't know if it's one specifically, because I always went to the same one, but you know how, like, it's poles with, like, ropes in between them or gates in between them? Go right to the edge of one of those poles, and the shock doesn't affect you.
That's really cool.
I don't know if it's one specific one, because I think I went to the same one every time, but I noticed whenever I went there, it was like, because the arena, if you will, is like a circle, but then those poles are like a little bit out of the circle, making like little points, so it's like you're protected there. At least in the N64 one.
Nice.
No, you're right. I know exactly. Like, there's one of them. It has. I know. Yes, you're right. That's the words.
Alright.
I did that too.
Does
Easy
anyone
way
else
to avoid dying.
have thoughts on DLC? Or next question?
I think we can do our next question.
Alright.
I did find a question that would be easy to answer.
Alright. Go, Ilya.
Okay.
Pick your question.
So, 608Gamer07 asked, "What's your ideal Zelda movie?" A
I remember that
non-existent
question. You
Okay.
Get Out.
I
No.
think
actually
we've
feel
talked
Ilya
about
on
this
that.
one.
Yeah.
I know.
A
I
lot.
was like, well, but I don't know if it's actually, has it been specifically asked as a question?
Kind
I
of.
I guess it's
Not
been,
in this
we've
way.
talked about it.
They haven't
yeah,
asked
they're
it in
asking
this
like
way.
an actual movie, and for me, I'm like, the best Zelda movie is the one that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a game.
I do not like the entire video game to movie thing. It's just not really, it doesn't do it for me, and most of the time
Yeah.
it's really not that good.
No, and I think I'm in the same position, and I think a lot of people may disagree about it. But
Yeah.
for me, it's like, I think I just enjoy gaming as a medium better, and I think that's where my distaste for it comes from, because in this medium, it's almost like you have an extra dimension where you're inserting yourself into it. So it's not just you're not just a viewer looking into it. You're a part of the world, and you're making choices that influence the world, and you're playing an active role in the story. And then you step into a movie, and you are the viewer. You have no choice in what events will occur. You have no agency. You are strictly on the outside looking in, right? And this is not to say that movies as a medium are bad, because there's a lot of movies that are really good, and I really like movies. And but I think because of that, when you take something that's a game, and you're in it as a fan, and you're inserting yourself into it, and then you have to take a step back and just be a viewer, you lose a part of what is fun about that. You lose a part of what what makes that interesting and exciting as a medium. So for me, like, that's I'm so boring that Kayla just totally no. She's just like, I'm done listening to this guy talk. But I just feel like you lose an important part of what makes these franchises so much more special to us than a lot of movie franchises are. Yeah, I don't know. That's my hot take on the subject.
I will say, I totally understand if someone calls me a hypocrite, because I was part of the Zelda universe Ocarina of Time voiceover, which they just did the second part.
Right.
But
for you were a part of it.
That's true. I was a part of it,
like you were.
But I was
you were
still
in there.
advocating it as a sort
True.
of movie. But to that, I would say it's clearly a fan-made thing. It's cutscenes from it put together, and there was a ton of hard work that went into it. But it's so clearly just meant to be fan.
But it's
stuff.
it's supplemental, right? It's not
Exactly.
replacement. Which is why I think if they absolutely had to make a Zelda, don't remake a game and make it into a movie. Make
Please,
it
goodness, no.
supplementary. Because if you try and replace the game with the movie, it's not going to work. But if you make it supplementary, like just a side piece, then it has a chance of actually working and pleasing people and not being like...
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with books, but to a different degree. Like with books, it's like it's a translation, but it's to a different medium. So you do kind of lose a part of what's good about it, but then you also kind of gain something as well because there's different aspects to that medium. But with specifically video games to movies, there's nothing in a video game that can't be in a movie. Or no, sorry, other way. There's nothing in a movie. Sorry, there's nothing in a movie that can't be in a video game, but there are things in video games that cannot be in movies. So the translation, it's not one-to-one that way.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I should teach a
along
class
that
on
line,
this.
I would say that it's easier to
Professor
transition
Daniels.
a book to a movie than it is a video game to a movie, and that's saying something because books to movies don't always work well. Like, you have as far as I'm aware, Percy Jackson, which was an utter fail.
I love those movies.
I heard that they did no justice to the books.
I loved
can't
them.
Say that.
I got so
But
sad
that's
when
just
they
me.
got canceled.
But that's just me. I haven't actually read the books or seen the movies. That's just what I heard. I do know for a fact, Divergent, when it was made into a movie, I didn't like the Divergent series, but I felt bad for the fans because the movie, I only saw the first one, was so terrible and was nothing like the book. An example, kind of a book to movie version example of what I think, Daniel, you and I think of a video game to movie Zelda should be like. I always use this reference, but Hunger Games. What do I mean by that? Not the first movie, but the second / third and fourth, once Francis Lawrence took over. And here's my thing. The books were all from Katniss's perspective, 100%. And they tried, originally, even in the first one they cut back on it, but originally there were so many deleted scenes that were purely Katniss's perspective. And when you watch them, you're just like, this makes no sense. Even if you've read the book, because you cannot read her thoughts. You cannot display her thoughts in movie form and have it work the same way it did in the books. So what did they do? They changed it. They changed the medium. They changed the books ever so slightly to work in movie form by adding these extra scenes, making it from other people's perspectives, looking at President Snow's perspective, looking at President Goyne's perspective. Nothing was Katniss 100% through because that wouldn't make sense. So compare that to bringing Zelda into a movie. It would need to be a similar concept of where don't try to make a video game movie, make a movie.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of my thought as well. Is like you have to make it its own. Like it has to be a more of work on its own that can stand by itself without relying on the medium that it's translated from.
Yeah.
Because it'll fall apart at that point. And also it's playing a dangerous game because with books to movies, not everyone's gonna be happy with it. They're gonna be people walking out and they're gonna be like, it's not as good as the book. Always. So,
I love the Hunger Games movies, but they're not as good as the books.
Yep.
It's just how it is. Sorry, that was meant to be like a short answer one, and
it was supposed to be a short answer. That's why you picked it.
It's funny because
I'm sorry.
I left
I'm sorry.
because my landlord showed up again, and then I came back and I was like, oh, she recently reread all the books and watched the movies, so she's gonna be talking about this. So I jumped back in and I was like, I know what's happening.
But yeah, sorry for going on a little lecture there and on our short topic.
No, so my quick answer.
Jesse, give us the real quick answer.
I would not want a movie because I would like to see it have more time as a TV series.
I'm game for that as well. That's the thing, is I generally prefer like long form series, but they can really pace things out. Here's a good example: Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay.
Yeah.
When they made the movie, which is notoriously bad, I hate it. It feels like 3 hours, but it's actually like an hour and a half. But that movie, the biggest thing with it, okay, there's a lot of problems with it, but for me, the biggest problem, other than the writing and the acting and all of the casting choices and also all the special effects, The biggest problem with it.
The biggest problem with it,
was
other than
the
that it
pacing.
existed.
The pacing was awful in it, and that's because they took 20-minute long episodes and tried to condense it into an hour and a half. And you'd lose so much. You'd lose so much character development. You'd so much.
Can
what's the word?
I say the
World
ending
building.
was cool?
The ending was just as cool in the original series, though.
Yeah, but like that's what like that was
Cooler.
the one. So the very very beginning and the very very
I've never
end.
seen Avatar, so I have
Yeah.
no idea.
So
It's a
the
great
Never seen it,
series.
you gotta watch it.
it's about these weird blue cat people that like.
No.
So,
I know what it's about.
So-
I've never seen it.
so
It's
the
really
movie.
good. I really recommend
The
it.
movie and the anime, they do both begin and end literally the same.
Yes, but everything in the middle is just. It's like they took the series and then threw it in a blender for like the whole middle portion, and then just tried to like crank out like just like pour this horrible Avatar smoothie out onto the screen, and and the thing is, you lost all of the great bites of flavor. You know, you
Yeah.
lost all of what made this so good. All these little character moments that this show is so good for. The characters in that show are written so well. And then in the movie, because they erased everything, everyone in the movie is bland and mopey.
Yeah.
There's no levity because they're just trying to get through all the important moments, right?
You got
And
the
so don't
waterfall
have
at the
those-
end.
That's awkward.
Yeah, and it's just, and then like freaking even Sokka, who's like the notorious, he's the comic relief character. He's the goofball who makes the bad puns and stuff, and is like boomerang, and he's great, and he's like just serious mope the whole movie, and it's just like. Who are these characters? And Katara, who's supposed to be this very strong-willed person, because there's no time for them to show that, she's just this mope the whole movie. And Aang doesn't get to be a kid in the movie. He's just a mope. Everyone's mopey. It just...
This doesn't sound good.
It's such a bad movie.
Aren't they remaking the movie?
They better not.
Yeah.
Just frickin'
There
leave it
is
alone.
a
They
new
had a
one.
Yeah.
great show.
Let me see, who
Just
was it?
leave it be. Just let it be what it was.
I forget what. There's like a meme going around like, oh, I can't believe there's a new Avatar movie, but then in the next panel it says, but it's being made by the same people who made such and such movie.
Oh yeah, it's
So
for
like-
Netflix.
But the thing is, like, the Avatar, or they only called it The Last Airbender because it was hot off the heels of James Cameron's Avatar. But the
Oh,
Last
right.
Airbender movie was done by M. Night Shyamalan, and he has some critical acclaims to his name. That's the thing, is that some of his later films were not as good, but he had made some really good movies before that. So you could look at that and say, hey, this guy has made this and this and this, so he's got a good track record. He's going to make a good movie. But no.
All right.
No.
So this is on episode
Sorry.
3
I'm sorry.
of Friends with Friends.
Oh my God.
Movie edition.
The director, or the people creating the 2019 Netflix show, said, "We're thrilled for the opportunity to helm this live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. We can't wait to realize Aang's world as cinematically as we always imagined it to be, and with a culturally appropriate, non-whitewashed cast. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to build
That
upon
was another
everyone's great work on the original animated series and go even deeper into the character, story, action, and world building." That is a straight up lie. You cannot go deeper in a 2-hour movie with character, story, action, and world building than you can in a 20-hour series.
I
That's the
really
thing.
like that they had to point out that it's not whitewashed.
Yeah.
But that was the thing with the M. Night Shyamalan movie, was it was very whitewashed, because all of the different nations or whatever in the series were very culturally distinct, and all of them were kind of Asian. They were all kind of non-distinctly vaguely Asian, but distinctly different from each other.
They're like
So, except for the water
10%
tribe was kind
Asian.
of like Inuit, but vaguely. But the thing is, like, it was definitely in the movie. It was just like an all-white cast, except for some reason the Fire Nation, the bad guys were all Indian.
racist.
So,
That
but
leaves
M.
a
Night
little bit of a
Shyamalan
sour
is
taste.
Indian. So I don't know, but like the director was Indian. I think he made a cameo in it as like a Fire Nation guy
Yeah.
too. But it was
Buzzin' Tate.
like, so,
I remember the scene when it took like 10 earthbenders to move a single boulder.
That's the thing. It's like, oh, that movie. It makes me feel. Like, here's the thing. This is again the same thing. Don't remake it. Make it supplementary. Don't make a movie to replace something that was great.
They said this was going to be an adaptation, a reimagined version.
I don't want that.
Okay. All right. So Ilya, you always wanted to do your like Netflix and chill thing, to where like you stream and watch things with everyone.
Don't stream that.
No.
You'll get banned from Twitch.
No.
I am the last person that would do that.
Okay. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it in the way.
Netflix and chill.
I was meaning she's always talked about wanting to get a group of friends together online to all watch a movie.
Okay.
Like, because I used to do that, where a few friends, or actually no, this was like back when I dated.
What's a dating?
Ew. Like, because I had a couple of long distance relationships, we would Skype and then one of us would share our screen. But then we couldn't see each other. But then I think it was Gibbs that told me about a site where like you can rent the movie, which is kind of annoying if you already have it on DVD, but you can rent the movie and then a bunch of people that are on your friends on that site can join and watch together. And I'm like, I don't want to do that this year, but maybe next year I'll have a bunch of people watch Hunger Games with me. It's like, you're not watching, I'd have to explain to people, it's like, you're not joining to watch the movie, you're going to watch me watch the movie, because it's hilarious. I'm not even kidding. Every year it starts once it starts with by Mockingjay 1 and 2, I'm sobbing the entire movie.
I'm pretty sure, didn't you post something about you sobbing? I'm pretty sure I saw
on those like hour-long Instagram stories.
Yeah.
I think it was like one was after rereading them, and then one was after rewatching them. And I'm just like, guys, I can't. Like, especially Catching Fire. There are a ton of moments where I'm in this chair and it was like over by the TV, and I literally had so many moments where I just went, no, not this part, not this part, not this part. And I'm like crying, and my mom's like,
ready to get emotionally destroyed.
I get wrecked by this series.
Cliff rated us.
Why'd you bring that up? Because I don't Netflix and chill, obviously, but...
No, because I was saying it would be funny if we all watched it, and kind of like how you were saying your reactions to that, seeing Daniel's reaction to The Last Airbender movie.
Oh yeah, when that new one comes out, we all need to watch it together. Really?
When
that means I have to watch the entire series first.
Okay.
Nah, they'll tap it for you.
You would thank us.
No! She's not gonna. That's the thing is, if you watch the movie, you're gonna be like, I don't want. It was bad. Like.
I watched it for
it was good.
I watched it all for the first time, like years after the entire series had ended. So like,
same here.
I was.
Oh, me too. I had a guy that I was dating at the time, and he was like, "Oh, Avatar." And so we watched a couple episodes, and I was like, yeah, this is okay. And then we stopped dating, and I was like, oh, it's good, but now I feel weird watching it. But I like slowly picked it off, and then when I finally finished it, I was like, oh my gosh! And then I binged Avatar, and then I went back and recently binge watched Avatar.
I watched it this year again. Only my second time watching through it, but I guess the first time I left a very good impression because I remembered most of it very, very well and everything. But my wife had never watched it. Obviously, my kid hadn't either because he's 6. But we watched it all, and we all loved it. You know, we all had a great time. But Spencer, he loved it so much. He dressed as Aang for Halloween, and I was like,
nice.
Yes.
Which was hilarious because Daniel and his wife were Bob and Linda from Bob's Burgers.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, you guys have birthed the Avatar.
Yes.
All right. Next question.
Classic.
Next
Oh
question.
yeah. I guess we're doing a mailbag, aren't
we? We're getting close to the midnight. So.
Yeah.
I have my question.
Yes.
All right.
So my question comes from Buzz and Tate.
Ooh,
He actually
I know
tagged
him.
me in the mailbag.
Oh.
He's a good friend of mine, IRL.
Oh yeah.
I say good friend, but I haven't seen him in a very long time. Anyways.
Oh no.
He asks, 2D or 3D Mario?
3D.
3D.
3D. I like the 2D Marios, don't get me wrong, but the 3D Marios, especially like
3D World.
Mario Galaxy,
Odyssey.
64.
3D World.
Sunshine.
3D World is like the middle. It's like the the bridge between 2D and 3D.
But
Mario.
it's so fun.
But I
It
love
is
that
so
game as
fun.
well. I don't know, man. This is too hard. You're like, nah.
You're making him pick between children.
Yeah, kind of, because it's like some of my favorite Mario games. Mario Odyssey right now is like awesome. I love it.
And you can play
2D
2D
but
in it.
also like Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo.
Oh,
was
so good.
It's they gave
Okay,
us that
so
Yoshi. I
Can
can't
I have
choose.
Super Mario World and also Mario Galaxy? Can this just be like my happy medium right there?
Yeah.
Like Odyssey's great, but nothing beats Mario Galaxy for me still. So
Okay, so here's the thing. 2D Mario games, because the games that I had when I was young, and just the activities that I could do when I was young in general, were very limited. So I didn't have many games. Some of the games I did have were Super Mario World. So I would just play it over and over to the point to where that game is just boring to me now. Because I played it so much for like years.
Oh, no.
Just
I
playing
could
Super Mario
I could
World.
teach a lecture class on how great that game
Yeah.
is.
No,
But
so
go on.
when it came out on Wii U, on the Virtual Console, I was like, oh, I used to play Super Mario World all the time. I'll buy it again and play it again. I bought it and I was like, I know why I didn't play this game for like 15 years. So then,
Oh no.
yeah, so I am going to say favorite game to play with other people, just in general, one of my favorite games, Super Mario 3D World. But
Yes.
I also want to say, I don't know if it counts as a Mario game, but Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is amazing.
oh, don't even get me
So,
started.
that's a
Not even
Luigi.
Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the original Luigi's Mansion. Bless.
But that's a Luigi. We're talking
So
about
it's
the
all
Mario.
Mario's in it.
We're
He's
talking
in
about
a
the Mario.
he's in a painting.
It's a Luigi game.
Is Yoshi's Island a Mario game? No, it's a game.
Well, with
He's-
that being
no,
said,
it's super- it's-
WarioWare is amazing.
It is
Mario. That's
Super
not a-
Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island.
That was a marketing thing. The reason they did that, because they were like, no one's gonna buy Yoshi's Island, but they'll buy Super Mario World 2.
The real Super Mario World 2 was being made on the CDI,
No, but
the Super Mario Wacky Worlds.
I hate it.
That being
What?
said, I am very excited for the reboot of, what is it, New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe?
Yeah.
New Super Mario Bros.
Deluxe U?
Deluxe.
They needed to make an online multiplayer.
The horrible monstrosity that birthed Bowsette, because even though it should be called Peachowser, and no, because Bowsette is Peachette is if Toadette gets the special mushroom.
Explain it right. There are almost 80 people watching.
Okay, if the character Peachette is if Toadette gets the special mushroom and becomes Peach. So Toadette becomes Peachette. Okay? If Bowser gets the special mushroom as well, he would not be called Bowsette because he's not Toadette getting the mushroom. He would be called Peachowser because it's Bowser becoming Peach, not.
That's true, because
So it would be
Toad
so.
would become
well,
Bowser.
Everyone has to go and change all their hashtags and Instagram posts from Bowsette to Peachowser. It's.
Okay,
I've declared it so.
Bowser.
Peachowser. it because Toadette does not play any part in that transaction. Okay, so
What about
Booette, that's Pichu. Pichu.
All right.
don't have
Question,
an answer for
everyone. Did
Yeah, no,
everyone
you're
finish
next.
the
That's
question?
a great question.
Yeah.
No, Super
Mine
Mario
was
World's
single.
great. Okay.
Alright.
The music is super thematic. Okay, the cape is an amazing power-up that trumps the leaf raccoon tail thing any day. The Tanuki suit. The level design has a really great like connectivity with the overworld. Star Road exists, and that's awesome. The world building in it is great. Like you've got the sunken ship that's supposed to be like one of Bowser's airships from Super Mario Bros. 3 that was sank. Also, Yoshi is the greatest thing, even though you have to kill him intentionally in one level in order to get the secret exit. The fact that there are secret exits in the world. The music is I said it before, it's super thematic because they have basically like the same running tune, but somehow it never gets old because they remix it into different areas to fit the tone of those areas. And the level design is like super accessible, but it starts to get really, really, really challenging unless you know how to exploit the cape. So it's based on your skill, really. You can exploit the cape and just like fly over half the levels, which is fun. So it's extremely broken, but it's like the most fun thing ever. How dare you, Jesse? Okay, that's all. I love you. Thank you.
I also love that moment where Daniel was like that weird like leaf cape thingy animal Tanuki suit.
The Tanuki suit.
And you like went through 3 different variations before you got to Tanuki.
Yeah. Ilya, did you answer your favorite Mario?
Yeah, I said 3D 3D because even though I respect the classic side-scroller 2D games, I find them so boring. But that's just because I don't enjoy side-scrolling.
Well, they
Except for Kirby.
so Odyssey
I just don't
brought
enjoy
in.
side-scrolling except for Kirby. Although I'd be willing to try Yoshi though.
Okay, so didn't Odyssey and Galaxy both had 2D and 3D levels?
I know
Right.
Odyssey has those too.
Only kind of.
And those are the parts I can't stand. Is when I have to be 2D Mario.
All right. Next question. Daniel, do you want
Daniel's the one
Yeah,
that
it's
needs to
Daniel's
pick the
turn.
next question.
to? Also,
My head is gonna
so
explode.
Mr. Well, you can get 2 questions, Daniel, because Mr. Well said that I promised to answer his question, but I don't remember what his question is.
Oh no.
Sorry, I apparently stabbed someone's heart in the chat.
Oh no.
Who?
But they stabbed my heart
Like
because they spelled my
mine.
name wrong.
You stabbed
Oof.
it by saying you don't like the 2D one.
Yeah, well, they stabbed my heart because they spelled my name wrong. Everyone
Yeah,
keeps
get it
calling
together
Hylia with
first,
2
what the
L's.
heck?
There were
Here's the
only
thing.
1 L.
What about Super Mario Maker, guys?
I never played it.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
It's
$40
not.
bucks. I don't want to.
I don't. It's not
Only
multi.
40
The 3DS version would
Sorry,
be
just kidding.
cheaper.
If
This-
I'm gonna pay
okay, the
$40 for a
3DS
game, it's
version
gonna
is
be the
not
Majora's
worth it.
Mask 3DS.
The 3DS version of Super Mario Maker makes no sense because they're like, here's a game where you can make your own custom levels and put them online and everyone can play your Mario levels. Oh, and we're going to re-release it on the 3DS. So now you can make your own custom levels, but you can't put it online, so there's no point.
Good point.
Anyways, sorry, Nintendo. I don't understand a Nintendo.
Also,
Also,
thank you,
I
Buzz
wanna
and
say,
Tate, for
guys-
fixing your mistake. I
Woo.
appreciate that very much.
I very much enjoy the 3D Mario games, guys. I really love them all. But, I don't know. 2D Mario has like a really special place in my heart, so I hate you all. That's what I'm saying. I choose Mario over this podcast.
I choose Mario Paint over everything.
Oh, Mario Paint. Also, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, you guys. I love you all. I love you.
Not gonna say hi to you at work anymore.
No. Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, never mind. I think the only question I can find from him was which mailman was our favorite.
Which mailman?
Which
Oh,
we
we
answered
talked about that
last
one.
week.
Yeah.
Which mailman?
Yeah, so we got that one
Postman
answered.
from, like,
So yeah, last
Zelda.
question, Daniel.
Huh?
Give us a question, Daniel.
See if we can get out before midnight. You got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just looking through the mailbag thing. I didn't pick one out. I should have done that.
He was going on multiple tirades.
Oh yeah.
I was getting worked up here, guys.
Bet friends with friends.
Oh
Now
yeah,
he's gonna
friends
go
with
to bed
friends.
angry and he's gonna tell his wife
No,
how dumb we
I'm
are.
kidding. I'm just probably gonna play Mario. So, no, I'm still playing through Pokemon. I gotta finish that first.
Yeah. Also, everyone watching, join the Discord and you can chat with us and stuff. Matt says answer mine on the Discord. Did he post
Matt?
one on Discord?
Matt said that? Who? Matt Fry?
What?
Answer mine. Let's find it. Matt Fry, where's your question on Discord? Fry Guy 07. Do you think there will be a steampunk Zelda game? Please no.
That was
I
that
don't
was
like
the
steampunk.
rumored the Wind Waker prequel. That was rumored a
steampunk-
long time ago.
I think
Yeah,
I
no.
have like an automatic aversion to steampunk. Like something in my brain just like rejects it out of principle because my mother likes steampunk.
Bro.
So, like, she's really cool and trendy and whatever, but for some reason, like, when she really latches onto something like that, I just, like, can't approach it. so please don't put steampunk in my Zelda. But also some of the Sheikah stuff, not all of it, but some of it was vaguely steampunk-ish. So I mean that's pretty close, I guess.
What was it?
Like some of the Sheikah stuff, like inside the shrines and
Yeah,
stuff.
the
Yeah.
style of
Gears and stuff.
things.
Some
Like,
of
some of
the-
it was kind of vaguely steam, you know, but
I got that vibe.
not
from
super
some of it.
steampunk. But yeah, no, I don't want steampunk Zelda because of my own personal biases, I guess.
I will
What about you
say,
guys?
I think some of the tech in Skyward Sword was steampunk. Like there was the pirate guy.
Oh yeah, I would say he's kind of steam.
Some of the Twilight Princess tech seemed steampunk. Like the what was it? I did like an article on it, or basically an article. The Dominion Rod, yeah. It looks
Yeah.
like not the way that it's used, but the way that it looks steampunk. And then like you have the statues that kind of like hop around.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that doesn't really count because none of it's being powered by Steam. But
J2 in the chats, the Spirit Tracks has a lot of steam, not
Yeah.
so much punk.
Huh.
it was really
I love
funny
it.
because Tubes
So funny,
went
I
like
forgot to
this.
laugh.
Tubes
Oh.
went like this at the same time Daniel like smacked down, and I thought you two were gonna like high five.
High five!
Can high
That would've
five
been
Daniel if I go
amazing.
this way according to the.
Daniel and I are just that in sync with each other. We're just like,
Is Chiblima the one on
oh
the
my
video?
god, I just saw it happen in the chat.
Oh my god.
Yeah, since that was a simple one, Abigail's is kind of a good one.
Okay, yeah, let's see. If you could choose any Zelda dungeon made for DLC as Breath of the Wild, what would you choose?
Okay, so Forest Temple, or from Ocarina of Time, or
Oh my god.
Stone Tower Temple, because it's Stone Tower Temple is one of the only actual dungeons that makes use of every item in the game.
Yeah,
Like
it's a
there
good-
are the typical end game dungeon like Ganon's castle or whatever, but those are like end game dungeons. Stone Tower Temple, it's not the end game dungeon because you go to the moon and then there's like the masks that
Yeah.
you give to the kids.
Yeah.
Ilya, hi. I feel like you have something.
The
So we're gonna wait. Daniel, what is your no? That's yeah. What is it, Ilya?
any Zelda dungeon to be DLC for Breath of the Wild. If I had to choose, the Forest Dungeon in Wind Waker, Forest Haven,
Ooh, yeah,
or whatever. I say that
Forest
because there are
one.
Korwoks. Korwoks. Because there are Koroks in Breath of the Wild, and at one point I think there was a scrapped idea for there to be Kokiri, and there was going to be like a Divine Beast dungeon in there, so to be able to have a forest themed dungeon of some sort I think would be cool, and because of the Koroks I would say that one. Something like that. Except keep the Deku tree as he is, because the one in Wind Waker looks dopey.
It's because in the Wind Waker, that's the Deku Tree Sprout.
Yeah, he's in his teenage phase.
Yeah, he's
And the
he's big now.
I
that's
like
the
the Snow Peak ruins. It was really
I
cool
was just
too.
thinking about that.
Because
Dungeon.
I literally wrote
In the
like a
Tamantha region.
3,000 page thing on it, so
Yes, I like that script, by the way. A lot.
it'd probably never
Um,
get done because it's too long to record.
Okay, I'll do it.
Hey, you said Agatha was too long to record, and I got that.
No, Agatha
true.
was like the Agatha thing was too long for the top 5. So like it's its
Oh.
own
Right.
Just make them all separate videos.
Yeah.
We can do it.
But
Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time is real good.
Yeah, but I said the Snow Peak ruins because I like the idea of a dungeon where there are just characters casually chilling out. So like if there was a forest temple and like you'd go into a room to like do something really important and there's just like a Korok or a Kokiri that's just like, what are you doing in my house? Like this is my room. Get out. like the fire temple in Twilight Princess. Like there was the rooms that has like the seats and stuff, and like there were the elder Gorons that you would see, and they're just like, well, what are you doing? Like this is,
you ain't supposed to be here.
Yeah. So I like that. Like it made the dungeons feel like they were being lived in and stuff, instead of just like a random decayed thing.
In the chat, J2 says, ooh, Hebra Snow Peak ruins. So like, I guess Snow Peak, as we kind of know it already. I kind of figure Hebra is kind of like Snow Peak. Functionally really similar. Actually, layout kind of really similar as well, to be honest.
Yeah, because they're both like to the west. Yeah.
Yes.
West.
Yeah.
North of Gerudo Desert.
But they're not.
In both cases.
Yeah.
And
no,
though in Breath of the Wild, not at all connected to Zora's Domain. But there's this.
It
part
is.
Where
It
the
is right
layout
above the Gerudo Desert, though. In both games.
Yes,
So.
north. Yes. So, yeah, but I think that would be neat. Okay, he said also a city in the sky. So I'm not sure if he means the city in the sky from Twilight Princess, maybe Skyloft, or but also thinking the Wind Ruins, or the Wind Palace rather, from
Minish
Cap
Cap
would be
and Sky
really
Keep.
cool. Skykeep also, like a dungeon like that's in the sky. I really like that idea, but we already have that. I really like the idea though, but we already have that with the Divine Beast.
Yeah, but the Divine Beast isn't the dungeon though, or like the city, because that was like a man-made thing below that came up, whereas the rest were just like remnants of Skyloft.
True, but like, I don't know. I guess I like the idea because I like the idea of having a dungeon that's set in the sky. And also I was thinking like, oh, it'd be cool like if you could paraglide down from there to the real world, but you can't do that even with Meadow, unfortunately.
So another cool one.
Dungeons are super cool.
I forgot what it was called in Minish Cap, the mine with the mine cart that would just like move you back and forth. To see that in 3D would be really cool. Where like
that's shades of Donkey Kong 64.
You just like jump in the mine cart and then it just goes like 100 miles per hour. Or, I'm sorry, 100 kilometers per hour.
I love it.
For you Canadians, yeah. Which Skyward Sword also does, going to the desert. You get on the mine carts and it like pushes you.
Slower. They're much. Oh no, there is the fast one.
Yeah.
Fast mine cart
and then
thing.
don't you have to jump as well? In one of them, like in Donkey Kong.
Yes. Yeah, it's total Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
You actually just reminded me of Linearu mining. Just please don't have the really terrible music. But that's the only song in Skyward Sword that I don't like. The rest of the soundtrack is gorgeous, but that would be really cool if you could use the Sheikah technology to like revive some of the machines that are in that dungeon as well. I don't know, like reactivate some of them.
So you're talking about ugly music, and then after this I will shut up for good, I promise, and then we can get to tubes.
No, we love you talking.
But I was reading through the Iwata Asks, and there was a part where Miyamoto and Aonuma were talking about the music composers for the game, because they had a few different people that were making music, and Aonuma and Miyamoto wanted it to be kind of disturbing and unpleasant when you were in wolf form, so they wanted to give everything kind of a dull, uglier color when you're a wolf, and they wanted the music to be like not necessarily eerie but unpleasant, to where it doesn't necessarily creep you out, but you're like, oh, this doesn't sound good, I want to hurry and get out of this, to let the player know that they're supposed to continue on from being a wolf, like they're meant to be a human. So they wanted the atmosphere and the music and everything to incorporate that feeling, to where like you aren't meant to be this wolf. The Twilight Realm isn't meant to be here, and they didn't just want you being a wolf and everything else being in the Twilight Realm to convey that. They wanted the music and everything else to convey it. So they would come up with like 15 different versions of a song, and Miyamoto would be like, no, it needs to be worse. It needs to be worse. And then they'd come back and be like, no, this sucks. It needs to be better, but not too good. So like they would have to like they would play like a normal song, but then like some of the notes would be really off key, or like it would be out of rhythm or something. So
It's funny because the Twilight music I actually really like that song. I actually really like it.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it is atmospheric. It fits the vibe of that perfectly, and it's got like a lot of very ambient and like very like minor touches that's like if you weren't really listening to the music you totally would miss it, but if you're listening there's these like weird subtle build-ups and drop-offs and things like that, and it is really eerie. I'm not like super music savvy, even though I fiddle with music, but I don't know how to read music and stuff, so I don't know all the terminology, but the way it's structured is unorthodox for sure, and it feels perfect for what it is. Like it hits that ambience and that atmosphere for what is happening in the game, like 100%. So I guess whatever they're going for was good, but it's kind of ironic that they were like, make it unpleasant, because I like it. So
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah.
It's actually
Alright.
in my top 5 for Twilight Princess songs, which I have a video on that I don't know when that one will release. It'll be forever, but
alright, Tubes.
Also,
Hi.
I was just gonna say in the chat, Tyrell Jones says the pirate ship in Skyward Sword or the ancient cistern. Those are both really good choices as well, I would just say. I didn't think of that. But
Yeah, the pirate ship could be in Breath of the Wild too, because there's a giant desert. But
It's true.
Yeah, Tubes.
So
yeah.
oddly enough, I got distracted with popcorn, I think, when you asked the question, and then I tried to find Abigail's question, and I was like,
What dungeon from previous games would you want to be remade in Breath of the Wild as a new dungeon? I picked
DLC or something.
Yeah, like I had picked
Yeah.
the Forest Temple or Stone Tower Temple or Snow Peak Ruins from Twilight Princess.
I was actually gonna say Snow Peak Ruins. I really liked it.
Ah,
And it would work well in like the Hebra region.
Yes. Yes.
Are they both in the same province?
Hebra and Snow Peak?
Yeah.
Do you mean? I mean, there's not. I mean, kinda.
I don't think
Like, if you look at the map site, like, I don't recommend usually being like theoretical with geography in Zelda.
Yeah, geography
Right.
and Zelda
But
But
games.
changes.
They
Hebra
don't.
and Snow Peak are one of the ones that I think actually do line up really well, because even in the game area, I gotta try and describe this so it makes sense. But like, okay, like on the map, it's in the top, like the northwestern corner of Hyrule in both games, and there's a part when you first enter Snow Peak, where you go down. There's like the water, and you gotta jump over. There's like all the ice on the water. And then there's basically a slope that slopes up and kind of around and back up before the big slope downwards to the mansion. I really hope you're kind of bearing with me here. In Hebra, there's basically an area that's identical to that. There's the big water area. There's no ice to jump on, but there is a huge lake there. And then there's a slope that goes up, and it curves around in almost the same way, but bigger, of course. And that starting point, that's actually the finish line if you do the shield surfing races on Hebra. So that's where the finish line is. But if you're walking up it from the finish line and walking up to the peak of Hebra, it's almost the same as going. It's like almost, the layout is almost the same as going up Snow Peak in Twilight Princess. So for me, that kind of cements it. That is the same spot, really. But but I don't generally recommend going off geography in Zelda, because nothing is the same.
Yeah.
they purposely make every
ever.
map of Hyrule different.
Yes.
So it's probably just a huge coincidence that is so similar, but you know, obviously more open in Breath of the Wild and larger scale. But for me, it was just like something I realized only on my third playthrough, that I was like, okay, not only did I already think this was the same thing, but like it's more similar than I realized. So, oops, sorry. I just ruin everything by talking too much.
Oh, it's good.
So
Snow
it
Peak's a
doesn't
good
really.
choice, though. It's a great dungeon.
Yeah, no, that was like the first one that came to mind. I'm really glad that one came to my mind so fast, because I was like really behind on the entire conversation apparently.
Woohoo! It's okay, you did it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then I get to go to bed and be
Yeah,
anxious
we
about
almost made it to
tomorrow.
midnight.
Yeah. I want to say the really weird thing is
Yeah.
all of the provinces in Twilight Princess have their own deities, like Ordona,
Right.
Nehru, and everyone. But the peak, the peak province does not have its own thing, but it is labeled the Peak Province for Snow Peak Ruins. But there is no deity type thing there. So maybe there was going to be, and they left it out.
But there's no one in the Gerudo Desert either, which is its own province.
But that's in the Leneru, isn't it?
I think technically it's a separate province. I think. But maybe it just falls because it's so close to Lake Hylia that it just falls under the same...
Because there used to be a way... They said that you could get to the desert, but then they like blocked it off. So now you have to use the cannon, which is completely unrealistic, but sure. Alright, that is the Hylian Gamescast. Everyone, episode 63. Thank you for watching. Please join the Discord. You can leave your questions for us to get sidetracked on and maybe answer on the Discord. You can be updated on all the other videos that we do or whenever we go live. Daniel's been playing through Zelda 2. He's about to finish. Tubes had a lot of really great...
Do a Link to the Past.
Yeah. Tubes had a lot of really great banjo streams.
Yes, everyone really likes my Ocarina of Time stream apparently. That's like the most popular, so I'll be getting back soon.
It's because you don't know how to throw bombs properly.
Oh my goodness.
I always have problems throwing bombs into the spinning vase.
What?
Oh my gosh. Same.
What?
Yeah.
I have trouble throwing the bomb to get the baby Goron to stop. Not the baby Goron, but the young one that's named after you.
Link.
Yeah. But if you don't call yourself Link in that file or something.
Oops, I'm Link. I always name Link.
Oh, me too, but...
Yeah. And thank you to all the 70, 80, however many people were watching the entire time.
Tonight.
Yeah. So, going around, Ilya, who are you and where can people find you?
So, I am Ilya Rose. I do narrations for videos here at the Game Over Jesse channel. I also make my own YouTube videos. Just look up Ilya Rose, ILIA space ROSE, or The Geek Apprentice, but I don't think that's like the main name on there. You might be able to find me that way. I post videos every other Wednesday. I have a video coming this Wednesday. I'm also on Instagram. I usually post random stuff, updates on videos, or really long Instagram stories about my existential crisis and ideas and thoughts on movies and books and things like that. That doesn't happen too often, only during Hunger Games month, and that is, what is it? Ilya Rose _ Geek Apprentice. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Alright. Tubes, tell us about yourself, Miss Clappity Clap.
Miss Clappity Clap, that's me. Yeah, I have been kind of on hiatus lately just because my life is probably the busiest thing that anyone has ever seen. But hopefully I will get a proper desk, but until then I will just be sitting here on my floor playing video games. I do plan on forming an actual stream schedule soon, so you guys can go ahead and follow me on Twitch at Chublima with an extra A because the Chublima. And you can follow me on Twitter at Chublima and find me here on the Hylian Gamescast whenever I actually make an appearance.
Alright, and Daniel, who are you?
No, I'm a guy who talks too much, apparently.
No, I'm the one that talks too much.
But I'm... Maybe that's why this works so well. I'm Daniel. If you really want to talk to me, the easiest and best way would be to join Jesse's Discord server, which is posting in the chat. But please also feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch as well. At Capt Bergerson, that's CAPTBURGERSON. And yeah, I've been, as Jesse said, streaming Zelda 2 on Twitch. I am really almost done I've been playing, or I played up to the last dungeon, and I'm like right at the entrance, and I was like, hey, I have to stop here because I need to I was actually getting pretty stressed out getting that far, so I'm pretty happy, and then I'm probably gonna jump into Zelda, or A Link to the Past after I finish that, and I've been just kind of playing through Zelda games. Jesse,
could you stream Zelda 2 being stressed out by playing that while having the Avatar movie playing in the background? Like,
we don't want Daniel to die, though.
Maybe like a dual monitor setup?
No, we need Daniel alive. To be fair, let's spare his soul and not do that.
He is the king of burgers, yes.
Yes, that is me. That's funny. Okay, I was playing Pokemon and this morning, and my character is named Burgerson because it's every character in every game other than Zelda where I name him Link. But and there was some dialogue. Someone was like, "Oh, Burgerson, blah 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 blah," and my son, he's 6. He turns to me and goes, "Why are you always Burgerson?" So I was just. I was like, I don't have a reasonable explanation. It's just because it's funny.
Quick
yes.
piggybacking off of that, I know this is just a funny thing that happened with my family that kind of sort of is similar to that. So my stepdad has a granddaughter, which I guess she's my niece anyway, named Eva. And every time, I guess there was just one time where we were all together and my stepdad wasn't wearing a hat. And she goes, Pop, I didn't know you had hair. And we all just sat there really confused. And we were like, she is 6 years old and she's only ever seen him with a hat on.
Oh my god.
Holy wow. Oh,
So,
wow.
That was just my random little family joke there.
Kids are hilarious.
Okay.
But yes, Zelda 2 has been intense, and I'm really close to finishing, and I can move on. I should get around to finishing Pikmin 3, but beside that, you can also check out my website, which is burgersonmedia.com. And because if you're ever curious about what I do other than this podcast and those Twitch streams, there's where you can find it. That's probably your best bet. So that's me.
All right. Yeah, go find Ilya and Tubes and Daniel, and to answer Evan's question there at the very end, because it's really simple. What if Ganon corrupted the Triforce, turned Zelda evil? He's corrupted the Triforce a few times, and he turned Zelda evil at the end of Twilight Princess, where she tries to kill you. And she looks all zombified. Looks even cooler in Twilight Princess HD as well. Anyways, I am Jesse. Everything is Game Over Jesse. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, everything. Maybe things that I don't know about because I'm pretty sure some people probably used it on other things. I don't know. But everything is /GameOverJesse. Join the Discord. You can chat with all of us, and then you can add us on the Instagrams and the Twitters. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.